and don't make the mistake that most of your mothers and fathers made. Um, when I wake up in the morning, my prayers, and I thank God I woke up, the Ku Klux Klan woke up this morning. The drug pushers woke up this morning. I thank God that I made another 24 hours in the most vicious, nasty, hateful, insane nation that's ever existed with my wits, without hating, without being bitter, without being mean. And I thank God that I survived 24 hours in that type of atmosphere with the with the with the type of amusement and friendliness. And so I would say to young folks, um, don't be in a state of denial of the racism and sexism, but don't let that block you. Don't teach your children that you have to be twice as good as a white. That's an awful thing to teach a child.
Mm-hmm.
That's like saying
I
because you
agree.
black, white America has a right to change your dollar for 94 cents. But we used to get 50 cents, and before that, we used to get nothing. Young folks have to say, we don't want more change for a dollar. Excuse me, we want a full dollar's change for a dollar, or this cash register will never ring again.
Yes.
I would also like for young blacks to understand that about 83% of all employment happen with small businesses. And excuse me, if you don't have a small business, then you have nobody to work for you. And I would say to young blacks, get into entrepreneurship. We will never catch up with white America till we get into business because there's a thing called tax write-offs. And if you have a job and come together, 10 of you, and open up a corporation and have somebody run it, you hiring somebody to run it, but you have tax write-offs. 98% of people that fly first class on airplanes would not be there if that wasn't a write-off. And yet, on that first class, they gave away last year $800 million, almost $1 billion of free whiskey. But if a welfare mother asked for some apple juice for the baby,
Mm-hmm.
she's laughed at.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say entrepreneurship, and then understand that we will never survive as a group until we get into communities and not neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
A community is I control the police, the banks, the schools, the firefighters, and I control the flow of the money. And I have no problem when I go in a Jewish neighborhood and the shop owners are Jewish, and I go into an Italian neighborhood and shop owners are Italian. I have a problem when I come in a black neighborhood and the shop owners is not me. Uh, a Korean has a right to come in and buy my shop for $30 million more than it's worth. That's good business. But if we decide that we're not going to do business with that one, then he'll have to sell it back or she'll sell it back to a black person for $1 million. And then the
Yes.
money circulates and circulates, and that's how you change. We've been so busy dealing with the hurt and the pain and the misery and glamorizing a hand few that have made it, that we have never really looked at, like they say, your role model. If you haven't got a role model in your house, you should fall on your knees and pray to
Yes.
God because something is wrong.
Yes.
And so I would say to young folks, it's not about alcohol, but it's hard for me to say that to you when a 5-year old got to reach past mama's beer and papa's wine to get some mayonnaise. I would also say to young folks that the number one drug that will wipe you out is not cocaine, it's not heroin, it's marijuana. And they deliberately make that a recreation drug, but it stays in the muscles, it stays in the blood, and it will wipe out your memory bank. And also, this is the first time in the history of TB that TB has always been known as poor folks. It's the first time that TB is not running rampant in the ghetto. It's running rampant in middle income white America because it's the marijuana that they spray, and that's no accident. And so I would just say to young folks, you have to reevaluate everything you've been taught. I would say to the black folks that just because a black person is 90 years old don't mean they have wisdom, and you need to listen to them, because if you was dumb and stupid when you was 9, you dumb and stupid when you 90.
Contradiction, and there is a contradiction, right?
I know it.
He preaches against materialism, but fills his garage with a Rolls Royce, a new Cadillac, a new Lincoln, a new camper.
2 Rolls Royces.
2 Rolls Royces.
Now, I'll tell you another thing. Now, I wish he was here, the man who wrote it.
Well,
I preach against material things.
Yes.
When have I ever preached anything against material? I don't preach against material things. I teach our people and our religion that heaven is not on earth. I say heaven is not up in the sky. I mean, heaven is on earth. Hell is not underground. Hell is on earth. The white man has told you heaven is in the sky and hell is underground, and he takes everything in the middle. He's got all the factories, all the hotels, all the motels, all the electric, the land. I say heaven is a good condition on earth. This is what we preach. I don't preach.
Lost everything.
Lost everything.
You own the land.
Yeah, we own our land, all of them.
And no one ever paid you any money for this land.
No,
You just lost it.
took it.
What do you say to children today? Children like this boy, like your great grandson, and people who didn't grow up when you grew up, and people who didn't go through what you went through, people who would say, this couldn't have happened in this country. Come on.
I would tell them like this. I said, don't ever stay in a place that white folks can surround it. Don't never stay in a place that white folks can surround it. Because if anything happens some ways else, they'll run you out from your home, just like they did us.
What is good, my people? We are live, back with another live broadcast. What up, my brother Oni? What's going on, my brother? Real black gentleman, brother Bakari. Oh, y'all ain't even supposed to know who playing in the Super Bowl. Now, I hate to interrupt. Y'all can go back to watching it or whatever. But I just had to come on here for the people who ain't watching it and just ain't doing nothing right now. So I'm one of those people. So I came to entertain myself, I guess. And y'all, shouts out to you, Bitter Medicine. That's what somebody told me a little while ago. I forgot, what I'm saying? I didn't know. And they was like, Bakari just said it's 2 black quarterbacks playing. I didn't know. I don't know how Bakari knows that, but what up, Grease with Fire? I don't know if that's, the American Antoine de Mela. Grease with Fire is the American Antoine de Mela. But yeah, man, I didn't know what was going on. My bad, But just for the entertain myself and to people that's here, and I'll put the link in the chat for anybody who want to come on here. You know what I'm saying? I'll just be on here for a little while. And tomorrow, and that's really what I wanted to say. Tomorrow, I'm having a sister to come on here. Yo, what up, Matron? I see Matron is chilling too. But yeah, man, a sister coming on here tomorrow. She has her own business and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And I want to talk about business. I'm not, you can come on here and talk about whatever you want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? But I just make sure y'all tomorrow is gonna be a little bit earlier for the ones that I do. So it's gonna be 6:30 tomorrow. And the sister's gonna come on here, we're gonna chop it up about business. She got a growing business that's, and my brother Bakari has been highlighting the black business thing. So, I want her to come on here. I at least gotta balance it out with some civil conversations, you know what I'm saying? So I guess while nobody is I guess most people is not gonna be here except for y'all. So I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? I guess I'll just go in there. I guess just for it, you know what I'm saying? I was going to talk about this, but just to make it a little bit longer, you know what I'm saying, of the history of black players in the NFL, you know what I'm saying?
That's what it was like for countless black athletes whose names we'll never know. So, what was the NFL's Jackie Robinson moment? How do we get to today, the Super Bowl, the biggest stage in sports? Well, in order for me to give you this complicated tale, I'm gonna have to take you back years. No, decades before Jackie.
Before Jackie, and then today we got 2 black quarterbacks in the NFL, according to Bakari and the rest of the people who came on my neck. They came on my neck earlier, Matron. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna get on it because I don't want this to be 4 hours of people defending non-black people, of course. But
It's the Roaring 20s, and on September 26, 1920, the National Football League is born. With over 300 players in leather helmets, the league looked exactly like what you would imagine. But guess what? No color barrier. That's right. From day one, the NFL was integrated, if that's what you want to call it. 14 teams, 2 black players. One of those men you may have even heard of, Hall of Famer Fritz Pollard. Fritz's athleticism was undeniable on both sides of the ball. He could run like an Olympian, tackle like a wrestler, and in a sport that struggles to this very day to put black head coaches to work, Fritz did that too. But despite his success, progress was slow. There'd only been 13 black players since the league was started, and things were about to get worse. In the midst of the Great Depression, league owners met secretly to discuss their growing league and the Negroes' place in it. They decided that these colored boys were bad for business. Call it what you want, but this gentleman's agreement made
ain't that something? From that to the first Super Bowl with 2 black quarterbacks, you know, it's news to me. Ain't that something?
clear as day. Blacks were not allowed to play in their league anymore. Period. Just like that, one by one, those men were erased from the rosters, taking with them the brief history of the black athlete and the National Football League.
Oh yeah, by the way, during this time, you know, black leagues was like making money and doing their own thing and like thriving and stuff like this, by the way. I know they're making it seem like there was only one thing, you know, how people don't do things unless Europeans are involved in it. But yeah, there were black leagues, sports leagues, you know what I'm saying, at this very time. And I'm sure they could have made a NFL Negro leagues if they wanted to, which we would be, you know, enjoying, and I'll be able to watch the Super Bowl today. But no.
Now, I bet you're wondering, how in the world do you go from a handful of black players to 0 to the NFL we see today? Well, this part of the story takes us to Cleveland, Ohio. It's 1945 because all 10 teams played in the north and mostly eastern part of the country. So the new champs saw an opportunity to do something bold. They left Cleveland.
It's crazy because they said the North was not that racist. So there's something going on here. All the teams played in the North and they banned them in the North. That's kind of something not adding up here.
Their talents where no other team had gone before.
Yo, what's up, bro?
Communities, which meant it was funded by black tax dollars.
Uh-oh.
Their football prowess on Tinseltown's grandest stage, the LA Memorial Coliseum. But this iconic stadium was located right in the middle of one of LA's proudest black communities, which meant it was funded by black tax dollars. A fact that didn't go unnoticed by a group of prominent black journalists, led by Haley Harding, who pushed back. Why should this all-white team from this all-white league get to play their games in our stadium? And you know what? The entire community agreed. In a meeting with the Rams, Haley Harding gave them the answer. Kenny Washington. Now, Kenny Kingfish Washington.
Now, you notice the answer, right? It wasn't get out of here, keep it moving, don't bring that stuff over here. You know what I'm saying? It was like, yeah, just take one of us, you know what I'm saying? And we're good. Now you can take our tax dollars and you know, and then we'll come and support you with our dollars that we get to keep on top of that. You know what I'm saying? And We can't wait for you to come up with this concept of a Super Bowl here. You know what I'm saying? But all it takes is one Negro, and we're good with the destruction of our community, because that means integration, I guess.
Was the man in Southern California. No stranger to the lights, the cameras, and the action. Like any true LA kid, he knew his way around a film set as an actor, but the silver screen never captured his heart. Football did. As a homegrown product of UCLA, Kenny broke all kinds of records, even led the nation in scoring. So of course, his next step was the NFL, right? Wrong. Remember, it's 1945. Black players did not play in the National Football League. So, here we are, yet again, faced with that same question. What is the NFL's Jackie Robinson moment?
It's today, y'all. It's today. We finally got 2 black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, according to Bakari. You know what I'm saying? But listen, when it comes to wealth, because when we talk about wealth is, they stole their wealth. That's how they got it. You know what I'm saying? Off of killing, murder, all of that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And we are coming from a different way, but we are judging ourselves off of other people's metric that we also participate in. You know what I'm saying? And that this is not just about like the Super Bowl. This is just about economics overall. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes step by step and you know, inch by inch to be able to get up there and do what you have to do. So you see at the beginning, you know, they built these stadiums. They used black tax dollars and stuff like that, and that's how they tried to integrate football. And then when they realized the teams with the black players were better, and they realized the black players were better, they would start bringing in more, and it became a competitive thing. You know what I'm saying? But y'all already know the history stuff. But so we talking about like making money though, right? Hold on, let me make sure I did this right. Yeah, so we talking about making money though, right? So how do NFL teams make money? Well, I mean, the simple answer is you find the biggest, strongest, fastest Negro you can find and sign them to a contract before another white man can do it, right? And then you advertise that to not just Negroes, but who cares about other people? You advertise that to other Negroes who will support you and talking about we the Chiefs and we the Buffalo Bills. But then I'll be like, yeah, well, we black people. Well, what do you mean black? You know what I'm saying? Kind of mindset.
And in 2018, the Carolina Panthers were sold for a record $2.2 billion. So what kind of return are teams getting back from their billion-dollar investment? There's only one team we definitely know what they're making every year, and that's the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are a non-profit corporation, the only one in the league. So,
yo, ain't that something? An NFL team is a non-profit corporation in the NFL, one of the oldest teams, by the way. And that's something we're going to talk about tomorrow. You know, hopefully we'll be able to talk about non-profit and how you can use it. And, you know, and I got to shout out to Matron because she had like a great idea. And, you know, everybody, shout out to Cassandra. She's doing it and, you know, helping me with the ideas and all of them, you know, because so we're going to talk about this non-profit, you know, stuff going on. But, you know, how about that NFL team is actually a non-profit corporation who's making out who knows how much amount of money.
we have access to their annual filings. They made $454.9 million in 2017. The other 31 teams are privately owned, but Forbes releases the valuation for all 32 teams across the league each year. The values are based around each NFL team's stadium, along with revenue of historical transactions, non-NFL events held at the stadiums, as well as purchase and investment offers for each team. In 2017, Forbes says the Dallas Cowboys generated $864 million in revenue. The New England Patriots made $593 million.
800 and she, you know, and that's this thing, you know, is like not only just the money aspect, it's the time wasted, it's the money that goes into all of the events, you know what I'm saying, how you're putting it forth, you know. But you know, these is 2 teams and that's over $1 billion right there, you know what I'm saying? Like 1.3 billion off of 2 teams, right?
And the New York Giants made $493 million. But a lot of that income isn't generated by the team itself. It actually comes directly from the NFL. For the 2017-2018 season, the NFL generated a revenue share of over $8 billion from TV deals, merchandising, and licensing deals. That's known as the national revenue. And no matter how well or how bad your team does, teams split the national revenue evenly 32 ways, meaning teams around the league received more than $255 million from the NFL in 2018. But that's just one way it's...
Now, because Bakari got his Tony Romo jersey or his Deion Sanders jersey from the Cowboys, right? He contributed to this national revenue, right? See, this is, we could be a nonprofit talking about national revenue and, you know, putting your stuff together and you're splitting it 32 different ways. When Bakari buys his, you know, Black Power hat or something, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, but when he buys his, you know, his Deion Sanders from the Cowboys jersey, right? Now, Jerry Jones is a little bit richer, but all 32 teams is a little bit richer from that jersey purchase. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Blue Cross Blue Shield, yes. And they be making moves like Red Cross, all of that stuff. I don't know if Red Cross is nonprofit, but they're definitely political. The whole NFL was nonprofit at one time. Yeah, I could believe that. And then they probably had a Black player transcend the game, you know what I'm saying, and become loved by the world, and it garnered them countless. I can't even put the number on. They have a number for it, but I don't have the number for it. But, you know.
Team generates income. There's also something called local revenue. That's everything a team generates itself. For the 2017-2018 season, the local revenue for the Packers made up about 43% of the team's total revenue. Ticket sales and stadium attendance are a part of the local revenue. Not only do NFL teams make money on game day, but they can also make money from non-NFL events by renting out the stadiums for concerts, live events.
Now, I'm just saying, if we're talking about economics, you know what I'm saying? So when Bakari goes to the Cowboy game, right? So we got to pay, it's probably like $70, $80 for parking right now. You know what I'm saying? Unless they're going to walk like 2 miles or something. And I know a lot of Black people probably will walk 2 miles, right? But then when he gets there, you know what I'm saying? Well, he's going to have to buy the ticket, which is, I don't know. It depends on where he's sitting at. But, you know, when he goes there, that's all of that. So that's probably like a good $300-$400 right there. If the ticket not like $300 itself, right? So then when he gets there, he got to get his hot dog and his, you know, his beer, and you know what I'm saying? And the beer is like $9, you know what I'm saying, for a little cup of beer or whatever. And that's you know, I'm just saying, right? When you're thinking about where to put your dollars in, if you're going to say that you need to do this, need to do that, you know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, the opportunities are in front of you. It's just the decisions that you make, you know.
And tours. The Green Bay Packers spent more than $370 million to upgrade Lambeau Field, including adding thousands of seats to the stadium. Since renovations began back in 2010,
and you know what's crazy? When I was young, you know what I'm saying, a teenager and didn't know no better, this was my favorite team. And it's crazy that it happens to be this team they picked. So I guess, you know, it all comes to line up. You know what I'm saying? I guess I'm on the right path.
Packers have seen ticket sales jump from $48 million to $71 million. But game attendance isn't the only source of revenue for teams. There are also a lot of corporate sponsors. Some teams like the Philadelphia Eagles have over 40 corporate sponsors. In the 2017-2018 season, the NFL...
Now, this is the problem here, right? I don't think it's too many. It may be some that I'm not aware of because I'm not an expert on NFL sponsors, right? Because I would put my money on that Black businesses is highly underrepresented, right? I mean, we know that a lot of Black players make excuses like, I don't want to go to an HBCU because it hurts my chances to get to the NFL. So this is one aspect that we may not be benefiting off of, you know what I'm saying, the part that you benefit off from.
NFL sponsorship revenue totaled more than $1.3 billion. These sponsorship deals range from putting company logos on practice jerseys renting out retail space in stadiums, to landing the sole naming rights to NFL stadiums themselves. The New York Giants and New York Jets share a stadium called MetLife Stadium, and the asking price for the naming rights? Well, according to the New York Times, that deal's worth an estimated $19 million a year for 25 years, which remains one of the highest naming rights. Teams may be generating hundreds of $1 million. The Green Bay Packers made in the 2017 and 2018 season. More than $420 million went to expenses. Most of it went to player costs, which made up $212.7 million that year.
So everybody together, right? The Negroes that generated this 400 and something, right? They got 212, of that, a little less than half of that money that they really generate. Let's be honest here. You know what I'm saying? They talk about genetics. You know what I'm saying? They be trying to say, oh, there's more athletic we are than them, the dumber we are. Well, we know that we're more athletic than them, and we're certainly not dumber, but that's neither here nor there. But I mean, you are generating all of this, you know what I'm saying? Let's see where the rest of it goes, though.
Stadium upkeep, marketing, team costs, and general administrative costs total $208 million. So after all the bills are paid, the Green Bay Packers are left with an operating income of $38.5 million. The Cowboys, Patriots, and Giants have huge expenses that eat up a large chunk of yearly revenue too.
Right, so they make a merely 30-something thousand. Well, anyway, man, let me see. So, all right, that's just one thing. But since this is like, they said it's the Super Bowl today, so how much money does the NFL make on the Super Bowl alone? But this is just from the commercials, though.
It is absurd how much money the NFL makes just off of its Super Bowl commercials alone. Each 30-second ad cost $6.5 million to produce. Now, in the Super Bowl prior, there was 46 minutes worth of advertising. So,
and by the way, when he says there were 46 minutes, that means 46 minutes of you being unproductive watching a commercial, right? So that takes away from what you could have been making on top of what they are making off of you sitting there doing nothing, but watching a commercial, being entertained. I know some people are, I watch the Super Bowl for the funny commercials. Whatever, and this is not to judge anybody. I'm just saying what it costs to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Let's do some easy math. 46 minutes times $13 million equals $598 million, just shy of $600 million just from Super Bowl ads alone. Not ticket sales, not merch, nothing, just $600 million. That is more than any payroll of any individual team. Actually, almost double what some of them are. It's crazy. Just off Super Bowl ads. I cannot believe that. $6.5 million for every 30 seconds. Almost $600 million that they're going to make in a 3.5 hour span. That's nuts.
Wow, you spent, I don't know how much money in that span. Yo, what up, Bakari?
What's going on, man?
Not much.
I don't know why you hate.
Hey, Bakari,
I don't know why you hating.
Hey, Bakari, who winning?
You got,
no, don't even.
Eagles winning. Oh, Jalen Hurts is winning.
I can't tell. Or they both black, so I guess it don't matter who wins.
Jalen Hurts is the black one. Oh, according to me, Jalen Hurts is the black one. The other one is the half a black one. According to white folks, there are two black quarterbacks. But I heard you talking about start their own league, right? You got to go somewhere else and do it. You behind enemy lines. The NFL, they don't even allow. They want white folks, when they start other leagues, they got to accept that they're minor leagues because they got all the TV deals, won't let you get no TV deals. Black folks got to want to leave here to start their own league, man. I'm just being honest. They want to start a football league, they got to be somewhere else. You behind enemy lines, too far gone now. The TV deals is how they you make your money off TV deals and all that. it would be hard. The reason that dude Bob Johnson sold BET, because he couldn't get, they wouldn't giving him commercials or whatever it was, he wasn't getting paid. So he had to sell it. So a lot of stuff that BET wasn't getting, when the white dude bought it, when white folks bought it, they would advertise on BET. We got to understand we behind enemy lines. I ain't saying it can't be done, but what I'm saying is it's going to have to be done somewhere else. Just like with basketball. When we talked about if you talk about the NBA, they let the opportunity slip through their hands to own the league over in Africa. But the NBA went to Africa and started a league. Now you got players from here, young players from here, going to be going to Africa, making a couple $100,000 a year to play basketball on the continent of Africa. But we're arguing with white people about owning their own stuff. That's just my take.
Hey, Bakari, let me ask you something though, right? Like say like with the Olympics, right? Of all the people of African descent, let's just say percentage-wise of the athletes, do you think people of African descent represented their country more, or a country that represents Europeans more?
European countries more. All the stars represented something of Europe. All, you know, like Joel Embiid didn't play basketball, but like that dude Bam Adebayo who played for the Heat, he's Nigerian, but he chose to play for the U.S. He was proud to say he made the U.S. Olympic team. If you just go through and look at look at those teams from Spain, France, even track, all that, soccer, all that. Well, Cameroon in soccer had most of their good players stay in Cameroon. Most of their good players played for Cameroon. And that's probably the only black nation that was represented by its black players. Even here, man, like people here that want to play, African Americans that want to play in the Olympics, they could play for an African country if they don't make the U.S. Olympic team. It's been 2 white girls who wanted to play in the Olympics, went and played for Russia. Then there was this one black girl from the U.S. in the WNBA who was pretty good, who didn't make the U.S. Olympic team. She decided to go play for Russia. So yeah, we always represent the other folks.
Now, Bakari, to make it like with the sports thing, you know what I'm saying? And other things, because it's all like industry, you know what I'm saying? It could be from like growing your own food to, you know, whatever it may be, you know. Why do we feel like, because I think that's one of the main reasons why you'll have the same problem everywhere. I understand why you say it'll be easier, and maybe or maybe not, you know what I'm saying? But I think we're running to the same problem everywhere. But why do you think we have that mindset? Like we'll represent another country, or, you know, like I said, we have to, we would take the best of ours to go to the NBA, you know, instead of playing in the league over there, you know what I'm saying? It's my dream to get to their league. You know what I'm saying? You feel what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, we do that. We still, white acceptance is success. They still have black people in the mind frame of, I want to prove myself that I'm good. I want to prove to them that I'm good enough. And we don't think black people is worth nothing, in all honesty. Most black people, a lot of black people don't think black people is worth nothing.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because it's not just the money, it's your time too, you know, because you're wasting time. I mean, you could say that we're doing this too, you know, but I think that's why, you know, I want to have more productive stuff, you know what I'm saying?
But you know, but like say they went to the continent of Africa, right?
Yeah.
And they taking their money to Africa. They could build their own TV networks over there. They don't need white folks to build their own TV networks. That's why that dude from Ghana reached out to Tyler Perry. Come to Ghana and help me. You know that comedian Michael Blackson? First, he went back and built a school for people in Ghana, in the village, right? But he reached out to Tyler Perry, help me build a movie studio in Ghana so our people can do better movies in Ghana, so we can do good things in Ghana. They say Tyler Perry say he's gonna help him, and they're going through it now. But you don't need them if you go somewhere like that. 1 billion people is what 1.3, 1.4 billion people on the continent of Africa. You could create your own TV networks and everything.
Yeah, and learn how to put like satellites in the air. You can use things for different reasons. Learn how to make satellites so you don't have to be like, oh, they won't give me a channel with their stuff. Well, make your own channel, create your own frequencies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But,
but see, but like when you mention Green Bay and you say Green Bay was a nonprofit organization, did you know the whole NFL was a nonprofit organization up until about 2017, 18, something like that, for a very long time? The whole NFL.
No, I ain't know
Green Bay, yeah, the whole NFL. I want to say the NBA was too, but I'm not sure. I don't quote me on that one. I had to look it up, but I know the NFL for a fact was a nonprofit organization. Green Bay ownership of their team is a little different. The whole city, damn near the whole city, owned the Green Bay Packers. And they had to do it like that because there was a much smaller city when they got their team than everybody else. But the whole city, that still shouldn't be that it should be a nonprofit organization. But damn near everybody in the city is part owner of the Green Bay Packers.
And so I might have made the wrong choice because that used to be my favorite team when I was like young, like a teenager and stuff like that, and now you're telling me that even though they all was not taxed, I ain't know that, but they still not taxed, but then you still have Brett Favre taking money from taxpayers, right? And he was getting non-tax money this whole time.
Yeah, why his ass ain't in jail? Why he ain't locked up in the bottom of the prison?
Yeah,
is what I don't understand.
Yeah. So Bakari, and yeah, it's like a well without water. Facts,
Well, I do understand why he ain't in prison, shit, but he should be. But I do know why they protected him.
Yeah. But all right, so like Bakari talking about, and this is just I think he's just talking about America with this. And I know black people will be like, oh yeah, that spending power stuff is like a myth. Like that's just the money that you have and you're not using it as a collective. That's the issue. But your dollars still run their industries, you know what I'm saying? It's not like it doesn't go somewhere, you know what I'm saying? You out there working every single day, you know what I'm saying? But so let me play this, Bakari, and then you can say, so it said it reaches a record 1.6 trillion, but net worth falls, because we're giving it all right back, and half of it is tax. Let's be real, but we have been, Europeanized, I guess.
For our Equity and Opportunity series, and Frank Holland joins us this morning with a closer look at the growth in black spending power. Frank.
Hey, good morning to you, Andrew. Black spending power reached a record $1.6 trillion in 2021. The ability to buy, save, and invest more than doubling since 2000. That growth exceeding the full U.S. economy, but actually lagging other ethnic groups, Latinos with a 288% increase, Asians with a 388% increase in spending power. However, other groups, they've also seen an increase in their net worth. Black Americans instead have seen their wealth actually fall by 14%. And with the S&P gaining 27% last year, the value of U.S. homes increasing by 31% last year. Many black leaders are asking the black community to really rethink how.
Now, 24, and now this is 2021, right? And now we know that, because it's starting to come, like, Bakari, we've been talking about, like, yo, get this, like, the prices, like, you've seen, like, the prices lately on everything? Everything, bro.
They even charging for air down here.
How much they charge y'all?
If you want some good air, you better come out and find. I got my air bill the other day.
I think mine was $37, Bakari.
And shit, mine was more than that, man. That air.
Yeah,
But yeah, man.
I had to stop breathing for a little while. I couldn't afford it. Nah, go ahead.
Have you ever thought about this, forecast? When we think, because if they say we got spending power, consume mean to be eaten up. But if they say we have consumer power, we believe we have power in spending our money with them. But have you ever noticed they never talk about white people spending power?
You see it here, Bakari, right? Look at this. The overall 122. Theirs is 189 and ours is 24. They're up 6%. And
who? Because I can't see it. I'm on my phone.
Okay, white people is up 6%. Black people is down. This is according to this group here. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But black people is down in net worth to 14%. And you're like, what you actually have is like, 24K. You know what I'm saying? What the average household is making for the black community. And the white community is 189,000, right? And the overall is 122. So we brought the white people down. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody is up except for us. And they're saying we down 14%. And this was from 2021,
Yeah. Hey, look, I was reading. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I thought you had stopped. My bad. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, just with the prices of today on top of that, But yeah, go ahead.
I was reading in the chat where Oni said people say buying power is made up. It is. It is made up. Spending power. No, consumer power. See, now they said buying power. But it's made up because what are we buying? Look at the black folks with money. What are we buying? Then look at the black folks that don't have no money. They're trying to be like the black folks with money. What are they buying? It would be power if we used it to lift ourselves up. But right now, it's just made up. It's a myth. There ain't no power in giving all of your money, all of your goodness to somebody else. There ain't none.
Right. So it say the Latinos is up 112%, Bakari, in net worth, but they got 36,000. So they could have made like, 30,000 or something like that. I don't know. But all right. So all right.
How it spends.
Save money to purchase the most important asset you'll probably ever own, and that's your home. And that to me is equally important. As I said, I put it right up there with arguing or campaigning for or supporting voting rights.
I would love to see us spend more money in the stock market. Instead of buying the hottest new thing, buy the stock of the hottest new thing. And that's something that you can also pass down generation to generation.
All right, let me get off this before I get in trouble before y'all talk about it. What about her? Mason said, consumer power requires dependence on white people. Right. Yeah. So listen to what this sister said, Bakari, and y'all listen to what she said.
I saw you put Raw on the screen too. I can't see. I saw one of Matron comments, but I don't see Matron no more, and I don't see and I can't see Raw. I can't never see him when I'm on your channel.
Yeah, Ross said a village without elders would be like well without water. Yeah.
I can't see that. Hey, Raw, they want to get rid of the elders. They say the old folks need to be quiet. They want to get rid of the elders.
All right, so she said we need to invest, and here's how. Listen to what she's saying. And we're going, and I know we we really need like basics in like finance and like what term like the terms that are out there. We definitely could create our own terms and stuff. But I'm just saying, like right now with the money that we have, if Bakari says that it's not real, but it'll only be real once we do it this way. Like we got to figure out how to do that, and maybe or maybe not. Older generations not saying like old generations like Bakari. I'm just saying like generations that are grown up adults may have been set in their ways already, and it's going to be harder to like teach that, but if you focus on like children and stuff like this and show them people, and not just talk about it, but show them people who do it and let them hear their story and talk about it. You know, that's why I want to have the sister come on and more, and you know, stuff like that, and like how Bakari does with the black business thing. But listen to what this sister says and let me know what y'all think.
So I'm not saying do not invest directly in black businesses, but look at Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey invested in Weight Watchers stock, and that stock is excelling tremendously. And honestly, I think if I see a billionaire acquire wealth, and my core focus is to acquire wealth, success leaves clues. Why not just follow the blueprint? You got people like Robert Smith, who's in the financial industry, who is a billionaire, who invests as well. So it's not that we should not invest in our community, but sometimes we have people who don't have thousands of dollars to put into a real estate project, but they do have $100 and maybe $12, $13, $14 to invest in Disney because their child watches Disney, they're always watching sports, and they're always watching ABC. So as opposed to people constantly making money off of our consumption, why not just get in the game with them so that we can grow our money, have more liquid assets available to then pool more of our monies together to then invest in other black projects.
The growth happens less on an individual basis, and this is something you mentioned before the break too, but the growth happens much less on an individual basis. If Susie over there, as you said, let's say Oprah over there, you know, investing, that's great, but to have more people who maybe aren't on Oprah's level, but let's say Oprah
do smaller things.
Sorry, you said Disney.
Right.
Let's say Oprah invests in Disney, but I also invest in Disney, and you and Eric, you know, we all invest in Disney. Well, now we're all a part of the growth that Disney experiences.
Right.
So collectively, the black community is stronger because we all are, right? The black community is stronger not because we pulled our funds together and invested in a bodega across the way,
right?
But because we all are now a part of the train, the economic train that is.
So here's the other thing too, and this is something that I learned on Wall Street. If you have 100% of your assets, meaning 100% of what you are worth, not the money you spend your bills with, 10% should be in cash, meaning cash equivalent. So it could be under your mattress, in a checking account, or a savings account. 10% of your assets should be in an alternative investment. An alternative investment is an investment that is 5 to 7 to 10 years plus where you'll get a return. So for example, let's take Amplify. If you said, Ashley, I want to invest in Amplify, let's say you give me $50,000. You're not going to see a quick return tomorrow. It's going to take Amplify 5, 10, 20 years to turn you into a billionaire, i.e. Facebook. So that's considered an alternative investment. Things like real estate, things like private investments, things like investing in a bodega. You won't see a quick return that fast. But then you have marketable securities, which are like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, insurance investments, annuities. 80% of a wealthy person, a billionaire, millionaire, 80% of their assets should be invested in a marketable security. And if your money is imbalanced, you have more money in cash, we take that money and we invest it into more marketable securities. So I'm not saying that we should not invest in actual businesses in our community. However, that should not be 100% of our net worth, because that is not how billionaires operate. 100% of your money can go amongst different investments, but I will not take 100% of my assets.
Can you pause that 1 second? Can you pause that 1 second? What get on my damn nerves is people talking about that is not how billionaires operate. Is she a billionaire? Billionaires became billionaires off the back of black slaves. She's trying to say it in a nice way, but she's pushing you away from investing in the, that's why she keeps saying, I'm not saying don't invest in the black community. Now, you didn't say those words, but that's what you are saying. I hate to hear, if you're not a billionaire, you don't know what the hell a billionaire do. Are you around it? Then she used Oprah for an example. Oprah was getting paid by Weight Watchers, commercials and everything. She invested in Weight Watchers. Great for Oprah. But you see, people who think they're so much smarter than other black people, they're teaching you to give your money. I'm not saying don't get no money out the stock market if you can. I'm a firm believer in use what you can to get what you need, or we use what we can to get what we need. But not once has she said, neither one, invest in the black community. We need these businesses in the black community. The only thing she say is I'm not telling you don't, but you're not saying do. And that's the problem I have with black people like that. And that's just my take on it. And I'm here. Go ahead, you can finish, but I'm hearing everything she's saying.
Right. No, yeah. See, and that's what I was gonna say. It sounds like what they're saying is kind of like I don't want to use this word, but an economic integration kind of thing. But the thing is, the principles and stuff like it's just the mindset. That's why I keep coming back to the mindset, because you can learn how to be a rocket scientist and learn how to send stuff to the moon and then help your enemy send something to the moon to kill you. You know what I'm saying? And like when you're saying, because a lot of us don't do that, but we do invest in everybody else's community without reaping no kind of reward. You know what I'm saying? Because I do think that people, if you spend money with something, or a business could whatever, then yeah, you should put your money in on that. But like you said, not all of your money, but the purpose of doing that is to grow our communities, to bring it back to our communities, to support our businesses. But we already see in every aspect, even when it comes to like Kyrie Irving and the Black Shoe Company, you see they won't stop going in on Kyrie Irving, but he's hesitating when it comes to coming back to the Black community and doing business. And we hesitate with doing business with each other. You know what I'm saying? You take their wealth, you take their stuff, or anything that you can use to your advantage, as long as you can use it, right? And you use it for the greater good. And even if you think of it as a selfish reason, you're a Black person and they see you as the enemy. You know what I'm saying? But we don't think of it that way, and we don't invest it back into our own community. So, I understand what you're saying, Bukari. Let me see. Said soon come people will be signing up for involuntary slavery because tired of being hungry and living in the elements. And it's not soon come. This has been happening already, Raw. That's the thing, because the 13th Amendment says, y'all know the except for slavery part, but it says involuntary servitude, which means that you can literally volunteer to be in servitude, and they'll give you like just enough money, or maybe not enough money, you know what I'm saying, as we see today, to keep you on the will forever. You know what I'm saying? They just figured out, well, to keep them happy, we'll just give them a taste and give them hope and all of this stuff. And while there are smart ways of doing stuff, we escape the community thing, and that's why we do the same cycles over and over. But it's no different from watching the NFL, the Super Bowl, and not getting anything and wasting 3 hours of your life, you know what I'm saying, and not getting anything and making somebody else money. You could say that we're doing it now, but at least we're talking to other Black people, having community and talking about something productive. So, but yeah, go ahead.
There's one more thing I want to say, right? And she's constantly, I heard them, they use Disney for an example a lot, right? Do y'all know who Walt Disney? Have you ever studied how bigoted Walt Disney was toward Black people? Then if we can complain about the homophilia that's going on in these Disney shows with these cartoons and everything. So I will be willing to invest into the demise of our future. I'm just saying.
But Bakari, are you willing to not use any Disney products, period? Because there's a lot of things that Disney does that people, it's not just the channel and stuff. She named a couple of things just now. I forget what it was, but Disney is like they have multiple.
I know Disney do movies.
No, it was like other things, like products and stuff. It was something.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't even know. See, I didn't even know Disney make products.
Right. Yo, because I learned in the business class, like, don't put your name on something because you never know. Like, if I put like, yo, the forecast is something, then it might get hate, as opposed to like, Building 7. You know what I'm saying? Some random name, you know what I mean? But I'm sure they have other things that they do. It's not just, whatever. She named, I don't want to go back through it, you know what I'm saying? But she named something that Disney has. It's like the and several things like ESPN, you know what I'm saying? So if you watch ESPN, you support Disney. I know they got that, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, you watch ESPN, you're doing the same thing, you know what I'm saying? But if you put $100 in and get $200 back, that's something different, But the problem is she's talking about, not building with your own. I'm not going to accuse her of that, but it sounds like that's what she's saying. Like,
Well,
not
I will
using
accuse her of that. That's exactly what she's saying. That's exactly what she's saying. She don't have to say, don't do it.
ABC.
That's why she constantly say, I'm not saying don't invest in the black. That's saying don't. I'm not saying don't. Yes, you are. Listen to everything that she said. She have not said one time what you can do in the black community. Her and that one dude, whoever that is doing the interview.
I accuse dude. He was more blatant with it, but I give her a pass, Bakari.
But I ain't gonna give her no pass. She don't. Why did she get a pass? Why?
Because she said, I don't know. I can't. The dude was like, yeah, why would we do this? It's, you know what I'm saying? Why would we do? And it sounded like, yeah, she was like, yeah, I'm saying like this don't have nothing to do with it. That's all I'm saying. You know, I don't know, man. I agree with you. It sounded like she was saying, you know, whatever. But it sounded like dude was saying it more. I don't know. That's what it sounded like to me. But Matron said they tell you to buy property and forget about politics, but you can be taxed out of your home and left owing a debt. And yeah, that happened to a lot of people with no tax, with no power over what happened to your tax dollars. Yeah. And we give away.
Then there's another thing. One more problem I have with these people that talk about investing. How many of them want to come back? How many of them come back to the neighborhood and teach? The ones who claim they know when they teach, they charging you a class. Well, if you pay for this class, $300 for this class, $400 for that class. But then the main ones that charging you $300-400 is the main ones that like to say black people don't have money. But how many of them literally come back and teach? I'm just saying.
Yo, what up, Black Bear? But yeah, I mean, and more like, let's be real, like, yo, like these days, like to even get them to listen to you, you know what I'm saying? That's why I want the sister to talk about nonprofit and using their things, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if you could start a nonprofit and get a company like Kroger to sponsor an event and get a bunch of like gift certificates. Now you might have to be like people of color on it, but I'm gonna make sure it's for black people. So I can bring this to people that need it in our community by using something that is theirs. You know what I mean? But you know, or like even with the water situation, because it's not going to happen by, you know, trying to do it with other people, with like us raising money together. That's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But if you do it like maybe if you have a nonprofit, you approach them like, yeah, we want to solve this for inner city communities, and you make sure that the sewer system go to black homes. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe you don't get whatever off of it, but you get the mission accomplished. You know what I'm saying? You solve the actual issues, and then people will be more likely to listen to you. You know what I'm saying? And whatever. But it's different ways around it. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to just using your stuff. And the money that you do have, you can invest in something like real quick and then take your money out of it. You know what I'm saying? And now you didn't increase what you have. Because, you know, like I said, man, like we still have to eat, and they control the market on that right now. Like as far as like food, the way we get our food to our neighborhoods, you know, and, you know, but, you know, we don't have to be that way, but it is, you know. But yeah, you want to say something, though, Bugari?
You know, one thing you just said, how they control the food, it's a sad thing. Because you know, people, it bothers people when I say this, but I'm just being honest. Man, I see all these damn Latino trucking companies. I see all these damn Asian trucking companies that's sending their food on, that taking their food to their grocery stores, to their restaurants, and every damn thing. Like people literally came together and bought these businesses so they could create jobs and do all that for their people. I literally see this shit right here in the Atlanta area.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fact. You know, that's a whole industry. Like, and there's a lot of black truckers, Bakari. You know what I'm saying? There is a few black farmers, not as many. And if somebody wanted to like have a store, you could have a network if there was some kind of network that existed. But you know, it's like almost like a paradox. Like, how do you reconnect the thing that has been severed? You know what I'm saying? Like they use integration to sever this connection that we had, you know. Well, we maybe only did it because we thought we had no choice, but it's crazy because we still have no choice. But yo, I'm sorry, yo, what up, Lightbearer? Yo, what's going on, Lightbearer? Disney, that's another thing. If you watch ABC, Bakari, because they own Disney too. So like, you know, they're all out there. Like if you have to spend money with it, you know what I'm saying, and you know that it's something that can make you money, like there's nothing wrong with investing it for it. The problem, like you pointed out, you know what I'm saying, is when they be like, yeah, well, why would you put that back in your own community? You can just whatever, and why would you invest in black businesses? That's the problem, you know. Like until we get back to the point where we realize we have no choice, and it might be pretty soon because, like, you know, stuff is going up inch by inch, you know what I'm saying, and resources may be more scarce, you know what I'm saying, for the common person if you haven't, you know, stocked up or whatever. Yo, what up, Erica? Erica said, telling a friend I wish I could open up a grocery store. Yeah, for us. Yeah, facts, you know. And then even when using the grocery store, and I was thinking about it, like when you have a store and you have the people in the community, right? Instead of like, you know, like, oh, those thugs, stay away from my store. Maybe you can hire them for protection and use it like, oh, well, you can get stock in this company or free meals on Sundays between, you know, 12 and 6 or something. Like, and then in turn, they'll make sure nothing happens to your business. You know what I'm saying? And send other people to your business. You know, it's just like working together as a community, but using all of the available resources and tools that you have, because like right now, like the number one problem we're going to have to solve if we're going to want to do anything before you can get people to listen to you or move or to listen or do anything, it's like you have to be able to offer them something where they can eat and know that they have safety, you know what I'm saying? And, you know that they're going to be able to live, you know, and today we got to the point where we need cell phones and extra stuff, but the first thing you're gonna have to do is be able to feed them before you can be able to, you know, get them to do something. So, but you want to say something before we go to the next one, Bulgari?
Nah, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, if you treat them right, that will protect you. So listen to this one, right? The financial myth. Tell me what you think about this one, Bukhari. I guess it's kind of similar. I don't know, because I was just kind of getting these. I didn't want to get no long ones, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'll pick these ones, and I shouldn't even play it because it's like the Breakfast Club. But who cares, right?
We've been taught in the black community.
The greatest financial myth, I think, is that the harder you work, you know, that's going to lead to success. And it's like, shout out to my bro Wall Street Trapper. He said something that was so profound to me. It's like, coming from working class environments, we all know people that work 2 jobs. Pretty common, right? Even 3 jobs, sometimes overnight shifts. And you really think about it, I never met one person that worked 2 jobs that had more money than somebody that worked 1 job. I never met one person that worked 2 jobs that had money. They still broke. And it's like, the reason is because you're trading your time for money, and that's not really how to get money. You got to have your money work for you. Like, and that's really the greatest myth I think that we've been taught is like, money doesn't grow on trees. You got to work hard. But
that's it.
It's really crazy because it's like, nah, not really. Your money has to work hard for you, because the harder you work for money, you're just going to burn yourself out, and you're still going to be broke at the end of the day. So like, I had a friend of mine, I'll never forget, and he was like, this was like 10 years ago, and he's older than me, but he was like probably 30 at the time. And he was like, you know, I wish I would have been a firefighter. And no disrespect, I love firefighters, or, you know, we come from blue class working environments. But the point is, I'm like, why would you want to be a firefighter? Like, it's a dangerous job. He's like, you know, just do a quick 30 years, you get your pension, you retire. And I'm thinking to myself, like, quick 30, that's your life. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that's how we taught, like, just work a job just to get a pension. But it's like, it's so crazy, because it's like, if you put $6,000 into a Roth IRA for your child at 14 years old, right? And let's say it grows 12%. By the time they're 60 at retirement, there'll be $1.1 million in it. So you could literally make your child a millionaire with $6,000. And now people is literally trading their whole life to get a pension, to retire. You could set your child up for $6,000 when they're 14, have 1.1 million. Like, don't even worry about your retirement. It's already there. Focus on what you want to do in life. How many of us gave up our whole dreams, our whole life to have a pension, to have some security, and we still don't have security? So for me, that's the greatest myth.
I think mine's the same along those lines. It was like every, especially from a West Indian standpoint, my parents are Jamaican. It was like, save your money, save your money, save your money, put it in the bank, save your money, until you grow and realize, like, the people that you're telling us to save the money with aren't doing that at all.
They invest in your money.
They're investing your money, right? So if you ever try to go to the bank and say, hey, I need 20,000, they're gonna tell you, hey, we need, you got to give us a 2-day warning. We need to know that you're coming to get that type of capital. And it was like, wait, if I have 20,000 in my account, why can't I get it out? It's because they're using the money to invest, right? They're making interest on it, and you're making nothing on it. And so when you start thinking about that, it's like, that can't be the route. So it's along those same lines. Invest your money. And Fernando said that to us too. He's probably the first person I had.
Now let me say this, right? Because let's not get it confused as we're operating on the same level as Wells Fargo, right? You know what I'm saying? When you're talking about invest, like you did, like the thing is, right? And what Bakari does, what he did with his business, you know what I'm saying? He worked to make sure to get his business, you know what I'm saying? Even if the time that you put in is for a certain thing, is to get his thing, then network with other Black companies and do your thing. And even if you have, because you're going to have to do business no matter what with other groups of people. It's about using the leverage and not being, I'm gonna just say a bitch about it, you know what I'm saying? And letting people dominate you. And you telling them to come here to you instead of every president in the country going to one person, which leave your whole country open, by the way, But like how Bakari worked to get his business and build it up, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm not saying like we are like Wells Fargo, or they just, because they're taking your money and investing it, right? You know what I'm saying? We're not doing that. They're taking the capital they're getting from you and investing it and making money, right? But what I'm saying is, there is a section, and that's a part of budgeting your money. You want to be able to live, you know what I'm saying? Some people want to be able to do other things, have fun. And you also want to have a goal that you want to ultimately accomplish, but you want a part of your money where you do invest, having to work for you, so that you can get to the point where you can do what you need to do. But Bakari, you want to say something though?
Go ahead. I'm letting you go ahead. I'll go after you. Go ahead.
No, that's it. That's all I want to say.
Oh, well, I understand investing, and I understand you saying don't, but see, but what one thing our people is not understanding it. Everybody don't have the ability to invest, because everybody don't have that extra money. Everybody don't have the ability to be an entrepreneur, because everybody don't have that mindset, right? That's why I said, are they coming back and are they teaching these things, right? Like he gave a good example of the Roth IRA. But what if it's not at 12%? Then what? See, it sounds like 12% is what he has studied and how much money they have, right? So what if it's not at 12%? What if it's at 5%? Do you understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying don't do that, because shit, I believe in trying to save your money for the future. But everybody don't have that ability. And if we're not working together as a group, and we're not working together as a people, majority of us will never have that ability. We are constantly looking to invest in other people, but we don't look to invest in ourselves. I'm not saying, shit, I was in the stock market or, money in savings account. So yes, do that. But you also have to be willing to look at yourself and at your people, and be willing to take a chance on your people to build the community, to build your neighborhood, to build where you live, so we can get the things that we need without always having to go to other people. I get it, Mike.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bakari. But that's the thing though, like to get a loan for stuff though, like right now people are going to them, and like we say whatever, but like people get cars, people get houses and stuff, and we do go to them. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. We are losing our money, but I agree with you on the part where we're not bringing it, because that's where we get lost at. You know what I'm saying? When we bringing it, you have to use all of the tools available to you and bring it back to your community. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just the lost in translation part with Black people, is the bringing it back to the community part. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah. Can I say something right quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Quick.
Yeah.
I was reading the chat, right, and I still can't see Raw. What's up, Norma? What's up, Light Bear? And what's up, Erica Howard? How y'all doing? But real black gentleman, what's up? And he put in the chat, he say, what bona fide hood company is on NICE, the New York Stock Exchange? He asking for a friend. It ain't gonna be on the New York Stock Exchange. It's since we want to call it the hood, the bona fide hood company is in the hood. And if that's where our people is operating their businesses, that's what we're gonna have to be, so we can invest in one another, so we can expand and make money other than just in the hood. That's all I want to say. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. But that's the thing, Bakari. Like, we're going to have, how are we going to be able to invest if we don't have anything? You know what I'm saying? We're going to have to, like, especially if most people aren't on it. That's why I'm like financial literacy and budgeting. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was like, you know, budgeting is important. That's why you don't just throw all your money. Maybe you only have this and this. Well, put aside, well, this takes discipline also. That's why I think it takes a younger age to kind of teach it and kind of instill it into a child more so than an adult. You know what I'm saying? Well, you could put aside 5 some blah blah blah. Like that's why I mentioned like you with your business. You know what I'm saying? To get the resource, because right now, like we got born, we got started on the game where we are right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like if you play Madden, you know what I'm saying, since it's the Super Bowl, right? It's like one of those drills where you playing, or one of those drills, and they put you in a time, you down 7 points, you know what I'm saying, 3:47 left, you got to go on a 2-minute drive. So if you got to go out there and, like, you know, bring this thing back, and then now I have something to bring back to, you know what I'm saying, to go shop at Saya Collective, you know what I'm saying. Now, once Saya Collective has enough, it's their responsibility to hire us, you know what I'm saying. Like, one thing that I used to say when I first started doing lives, you know what I'm saying, I was like, yo, we should put together, like, we could elect, since we like talk about voting and stuff, one thing that your vote will matter, we can nominate, you know what I'm saying, as Black people, and you can vote in person to have it, even though people will stand at the polls trying to bring in East Indians, Bakari. But you know, have Black people nominate and vote for successful Black people, right? And their job is strictly to fund and grow Black businesses. You know what I'm saying? And we vote for them. They have to be transparent with what they're doing. And the second they aren't, whatever, you know what I'm saying, we get them out of there. But, you know, we put whatever you have, whether it be $1 million or $1, you send it in, you know what I'm saying? And then they invest in, bring those businesses to the community, and those businesses hire the Black people. So then you can start getting jobs and stuff like that. But, you know, that takes a large thing and a lot of cooperation. So, like, on a small scale, like with us, Bakari, like, you take your business and you know that you're for Black people. So you do what you can, but you got to work with who you have to work with to make sure that you get the money. But then now you have the money to do your training course, to do your mentorship, you know what I'm saying? So now we have the ability, and then you will find somebody who know how to teach finance and know how to teach history and know how to teach math and teach science. And now you're reaching them at a younger age, but you always use their tools until you get to the point where, like, yo, forget you. Like, if you want to bring your wheat over here, then you're going to have to give me this, and this, you know what I'm saying? It's going to cost you this, and this, and this, you know what I'm saying? You'll have leverage, you know what I'm saying? But the part where we leak at is we invest in them and then we spend it right back, you know what I'm saying? And I think that it's not going to change until you go to a younger generation, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to stop somebody that's like 50 from watching the Super Bowl, and I'm not going to condemn them, but maybe I can show a 2-year-old the history of everything and let them make their own decision and see if it's worth it or not, you know? And I got faith in the next generation, because even my generation is lost. But my bad. Go ahead, Bakari.
Yeah, the young generation is way more, as you would say, integrated than
No, when I say young generation, I'm talking about, and I shouldn't say this, but like, I think the children born today may be already done. And if we start right now, then the children born tomorrow might have a chance. That's what I mean, younger generation. That's not even born yet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But hey, at Norma X, he put in the chat. He said he looking for that shoe company Kyrie was is contracted with. He didn't contract with him yet. When they asked him about it, he wouldn't even make a decision to contract with them. But the name of that shoe company is SIA Collective, SIA Collective. But back to these people talking about doing all this investing, right? Like I said, pay the stock market, do whatever you have to do to make sure you're okay. But what I'm starting to see, the reason people don't talk about investing in the neighborhood, right? These are people that make a little money, I guess. See what has happened to black folks. Black folks have been beat down so bad with racism. So now we begin to practice classism amongst ourselves. So they got a little money now. And if they're honest, that's why they are not saying anything about going back and investing in a black neighborhood, because they are better than those black people in that neighborhood. Have you ever noticed? Let me give you an example of what I mean. Have you ever noticed whatever it is whenever they put up something called black excellence, it's always somebody black excellence because of the amount of money that he or she make. That's black excellence. We're so caught up into trying to be like other people. We don't understand, most of us don't understand the need that we have for each other. Even the ones with that money, right? They don't understand the need that they have, because they need us just like we need them, right? So it has become a classist thing, and they want to separate themselves because they're better than the brother that get up and go to work and make $20 an hour, work $15 an hour. He working 10, 12, making $20 an hour, $25 an hour, and he been working 10, 12 hours a day to try to get out of that situation. You understand what I'm saying? So it has become a class thing with us. That's why you found a lot of people, once they get around $100,000, oh, it ain't no more racism, it's classism. Because all of a sudden they don't see racism the way it once was, because they live around a bunch of white folks and they'll say it's different. Yeah, they're the only black person out there. Fool around and let 10 black people be out there, then you will see it's the same. When you go somewhere by yourself, you're not a threat. But that what has happened is the classism. I get it, right?
No, yeah, I agree with you, Bukhari. And the thing that we don't realize is, right, when they took us, right, they took kings and queens and servants and field workers and attorneys and doctors, and they threw us all in a group, and they all, even though they spoke different languages, and there was no class at that point, but classism is just another thing like any other, it's just another people of color argument, you know what I'm saying, when they start talking about classism. And, that generally leads into that, that's me being biased, but it leads into that Marxist thing. It's not the same thing, but it leads into that, you know what I'm saying? And that's me being biased. So, but yeah, I agree with you, it doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying? But we find every single reason to find out why it doesn't matter. And I agree with you, the person that's making like money, trying to pay their bills, it's hard for them to get into another thing. And that's why I'm like, yo, what you was talking about with the trucking, that's why I want the sister to come on here. She had no money and she found a way. That's why I want her to come on here and talk about how hard it is, though, you know what I'm saying, too. But it's just that, when we put in the effort that you put in is like whatever it's going to be. Like, if you want to get out of your situation, right, if you are in a job but you want to find a better job but it requires you to do something, then you may have to work on during the day and go to school at night for a couple of weeks or months, or plan it out however to do it properly. But there will be a way for you to do it. It's just how bad do you want to get out of your situation? Because unfortunately, and this is how I guess slavery lasts for so long, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's very easy to stay in the situation and be like, well, this is hard because of this, this, and this. But unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, nothing is going to change until you change it, you know what I'm saying? Because black people just have this like kind of spooked out thing where like somebody's going to come and save us, but you're going to have to find a way to get out of that situation if you want to get out, you know what I'm saying? And I guess like all living organism, once it get bad enough, you'll do something, You know what I'm saying? But you're going to have to do it once it get bad enough, and maybe it'll take when people get hungry enough, they'll start thinking twice. But I don't know, Bakari, because like, you know, on a job, you know, I'm like, you don't have to do this. Like when they're telling you to do something and everybody's mad, like blah blah blah. I'm like, yo, we can all just not do it, and they can't do anything. They can't just fire everybody. You know what I'm saying? They don't even know how to do the jobs you know how to do. But they be like, well, no, I got kids and stuff like that. That's why it's hard, but that's why it's like slavery. That's how they was able to maintain their whole thing. You know what I'm saying? And what up, K Shaw? But yeah, it's classism for whites. But yeah, go ahead.
Hey, you know what something you said? You said they took everybody. They didn't just take, you know, people from it. But you know what? I told you, and I'm going to do and I'm going to do I'm going to actually do a show about this program that, about this documentary I watched, The Prince of Slaves, to show how when he was caught, and you're absolutely correct, they didn't practice classism with us. They group us all the same. Even the ones who running around talking about black excellence, if you're making $1 billion, that's black excellence. You're still grouped the same. But that's why we're so quick, right? But that's why we want to put down other black people, because we are reaching out to let white people know, I'm not like them, boss. Boss, I'm not like them, massa. Them niggas over there, I'm black. Pardon my French, because you don't even use that word. But that's the purpose. That's the purpose of that. That's the purpose, right? When like, let me give you an example, right? When Deion left Jackson State, you hear people on the internet, why should a black man live in poverty when he can make $5 million? When is $650,000 a year is poverty? Since when $650,000 a year is poverty? Show me what society that's poverty. That you're living in poverty, making $650,000 a year. But what we have to say then, because we can give our best, and our best right now ain't as much as everything else. So now everybody's going to jump on the bandwagon, and we have to talk down about other black people because we separate ourselves from one another. We separate ourselves on the amount of dollars they are willing to pay us. We separate ourselves based on how they see us. We don't operate in the position of power based on how we see ourselves. We operate from the position of weakness on how they see us, and how they see us is how we have begun to see us. That's why you find people, oh, the Mexicans, they just work so much harder. No, they don't.
Hey, I'm sorry to cut you off, yo. I had to like, yo, go off, like, yo, I had to go off on the Mexican, like, cause they don't be doing nothing, like, yo, they be like, no, I don't want to hear that, like, yo, you think I'm gonna listen to that? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I like straight had to go off on. Well, they be like, he Cuban, but you're Mexican, you know, what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? But yo, like, I'm like, yo, they don't do nothing, because like, yo, that is a lie. When they be like, they work the hardest, I'm like, I'm appalled, like, how much that's a lie. Like, but my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, that's the biggest lie in the world, especially once they become legal here. And now they don't even have to be legal. They get to a sanctuary city. They don't work no harder. They don't do nothing. And people are like, well, they know how to do this. They didn't come out the womb knowing how to do it. They got a job and they showed them how to do it. They don't want to show us how to do it. See, it's easy for them to hire other Mexican companies, right? See, this thing is deeper than it's deep and simple all at the exact same time. What we don't understand, even with the reparations thing, because I'm gonna be honest, if I was in their position, I wouldn't give them any damn reparations either, right? If I was in their position, I would make it hard for them to get business and their business to prosper under me too. The reason being, with everything I have done to these people, I would have to be sitting back thinking these people trying to build themselves up so they can start killing us, so they can get us back. So the situation ain't just, it's them being who they are is the reason they do the shit they do. But them being who they are and understanding what they have done is also another reason why it's gonna be hard for them dealing, completely in their system without trying to create your own where you will ever build yourself up. Think about it. We'll talk about, oh, they got a group called, the American descendant of slaves. So that means if we are the American descendant of slave, well, if they are the American descendant of slave, somebody got to be the American descendant of slave owner, the American descendant of the straw boss, the American descendant of the overseers, the American descendant of those poor white people that was burning down your business because you had more than them. Somebody got to be descendants of those people too. So if they're descendants of those people don't want to see the slaves come up, because these slaves, if they ever get enough in their mind, they might rebel and want to do something to us. I'm just saying. So it's a tricky situation, but a simple situation at the same time. That's why we must understand we need each other.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what the crazy part is, that Mexican dude, right? Like, and I didn't even know it for a long time till somebody else told me. On the low, he has like a tow truck, like, and he hires probably another Mexican, right, to drive his tow truck around, because he probably don't want to do it, but he still got a tow truck and hire somebody else to do it. You know what I'm saying? And that reminded me of what you were saying, Bukhari, because we see that they don't even give you living wages, and that's why he was talking about the involuntary servitude. They don't give you living wages. They fed you during slavery. You know what I'm saying? They gave you clothes. So you got to go buy clothes today. Like they did. They don't. It's still the same thing until, like, let's be real. Like and by making your own economy, you destroy their economy. Even by supporting yourself within their economy hurts their economy so much that, like, stuff like the Birmingham bus boycott, the Children's Crusade, look those things up, and it crippled their cities. You know what I'm saying? To the point where they begged for them. But the problem was, and this is where we can learn from history, right? Instead of condemning them, learn from the things that they like we can do differently, right? They had their own systems of like picking each other up. They could have like start pooling their money, you know what I'm saying, and just got like a bus or something and hired a person. We'll start with one, and eventually you'll make enough money to where you get two. Then you have like a black owned, collectively, like people talk about socialism, you'll have a socially black owned bus company. But the goal was to be able to sit on the front of the bus, you know what I'm saying? But that's not to make light of their situation, because it was to be most black people wasn't fighting for integration. They was being taxed and wanted equal representation. We want the same things if you're taking our tax dollars, you know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, yeah, they hire each other and all of that stuff, man. But Bukhari, I got one last thing. What up, Shanique? I got one last thing. You want to say something on that though?
Well, you're right. They do hire each other. But I know one time Biden said black people gonna have to start working with the Latinos because they're growing so much, right? I'm gonna be honest with you. And I'm in I live in an area of what they call the Black Mecca. Black people ain't working with Latinos. Black people is starting to work for Latinos. They're going to Latinos. We're going to Latinos for jobs. Going to Latinos for jobs because we don't seem to get it. Like Barbara Sizemore said, black people still don't get it. We still want to argue about where we from. We still want to argue about if you're Hebrew or if you're Moor. We still want to argue about all of that stuff. All black people ain't the same. All of us don't think just alike. You're right. All of us don't, but we should think alike on one thing. All you have to do is be able to think alike on one thing. Black people need each other to get themselves out of this nonsense. And if we don't ever think that way, we need each other to build a community. Ain't nobody trying to come in your house once we build these communities and say, you have to believe like this. That's not what people are saying. But everybody else, and I'm telling you, and I had this conversation with people, and I've had it offline, probably online. And I always ask, how often do we hear other people talking about white supremacy and what they're doing to us? For me, I'm being honest, I don't. And it could be because I very rarely listen to other people, and I truly don't listen to social media as much, especially as much as I used to. But I don't hear people talking about somebody is stopping them, because They get it. In order for us to thrive, we got to work together. And that is something we're going to have to get. What's
Yeah.
up, Life Bear?
What up? What's going on, Life
Hey,
Bear?
brothers. How y'all doing?
All right.
Can y'all hear me all right?
Yeah, it's kind of loud in the background. It's
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me get that off. Can you turn that down?
No, I'm listening to my. I'm listening to the Super Bowl.
Can you hear me better now?
yeah, you good.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. Is there any more noise in the background?
No, you all right. We can hear you.
Okay. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's a sad situation that we're in when I think about it. We don't support each other. And then I talk to some guys and they don't even, they're like, they don't even want to be connected with anything. You know, they just like, I'm a person. You know, it just, so, you know, you got some like people just, they're on their own. They're not even going to be supportive of, because they don't want to be connected to being who we are whatsoever.
Yeah, for sure. You know. So I'm gonna show one more thing before I get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? If anybody want to come on here. So yeah, this is just some things, and like I said, let me see. Shouts out to Matron because she could do it better. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the websites because it's like specifically things you can do for like Black people to get like money for certain things, you know, and things that you could use. So I just wanted to put it out there, you know.
All right, y'all, welcome back into the video. So grants are a great way to fund your business without taking out debt, especially if you are maybe not in a situation to do so, or you don't have the best business credit or personal credit. Getting grants is a great way to still get funding into your business despite all those circumstances. So I love grants because they're free money. Again, you do not need to pay this back. This is money that is given to your business off the strength of the mission and vision of your business. And these organizations and corporations that I'm going to share with you believing in your business. So one of the first places that you can go to find Black-owned business grants or minority-owned business grants overall. And let me define minority. So minority means, 50% or more Black-owned or person of color owned as well. 50%.
Hey, Bakari, so your boy Dwayne good.
Or more women-owned. A woman-owned business is considered a minority-owned business. And so if you fall into those categories, Hispanic, Latino, Pacific Islander, then you are able to qualify as a minority-owned business. Now, you can find these at the Minority Business Development Agency, which is also the mbda.gov. And this exists in pretty much every major city. You can find an MBDA chapter. This is going to be a great place not only for you to find grants that are available in your city and state, but as well, they do connect you with other capital and funding opportunities that typically are lower barrier to entry because their purpose is to fund minority-owned businesses. And if you guys know a little bit about funding or you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm super passionate about this because that the playing field is leveled when it comes to funding. And the MBDA is one of those. Now, you can also find great grants for minority-owned businesses and Black-owned businesses at grants.gov. Now, the key to navigating this, though, is making sure that you register with sam.gov, sam.gov, as a minority-owned business so that you can be alerted and invited to apply to certain minority-owned opportunities that come on grants.gov. Grants.gov is literally a huge grant platform with thousands and thousands and thousands of grants. So it can definitely be a lot to navigate if you're just searching blankly. But a great way to kind of get ahead and get the inside scoop is to make sure you register at sam.gov as a minority-owned business. And then you are able to take advantage of a few more to make sure that you guys are aware that a lot of private grants, such as, Wells Fargo, Visa, FedEx, American Express has a grant that is specifically for women-owned businesses and women of color owned businesses that you can apply for. And I'm going to list a few more of these in the description as well, so you guys can just click and go. But
and you can watch her video, so I don't want to play all her whole thing.
New ride?
But,
Nope, we're cruising.
Yeah, what do y'all think about grants and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think they're good. I think they come in handy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's great. That's a great idea. Grants are, definitely good, and also non-for-profit.
Nonprofit, yeah, exactly, yeah.
To help out the community a little. You can use whatever resources that is going to help out the community. I feel like do it. Just do it. Because, you need all the help and assistance you can get to rise above,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It starts with helping the people, and then, some grants as well.
Yeah. Brother Bukhari.
Man, if you can get you some money, you ain't got to pay back for a business, especially if you're small business, that's great. Like if you're in the trucking industry, like, what is it? Like millionaires don't have, the millionaire trucking companies, they don't have to pay insurance, right?
For real?
So what they do is, since they don't have to pay insurance, so people like me, our insurance become extra high. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't have to. So if I can get some money without having to pay it back, that would be great. I wish I knew about them.
Yeah, there's also
get me some money.
Yeah, there's also all kinds of programs. There's the RD with the buying the land, farmland, through the government, and getting a government, I think it is a loan, but it's FDA loans. Yeah, something like that for farmlands. And also, like I said, about non-for-profit, starting out as a non-for-profit to benefit the community, like getting mental support for the people, just little centers to help the people and to coach them in better ways, a better direction than where a lot of them are going now. And also then from there, showing people how to do grants and stuff for businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the FDA and all that other stuff. Because, there's all kinds of programs out here for us. We just don't tap into them. We just gotta, people gotta do the research.
Yeah.
Especially to get land. There's ways you can get land, make your land usable. I even had ideas because, foster care programs are in hard condition these days, especially with our children. And you could do something like get some acres of land, provide like maybe some kind of help for our children, get people that are in the mental health or the different types of what they call it, medical fields, and to help support, and that's considered nonprofit. And plus you can get FDA, you can get, and then also because you're out there teaching them children or how to live and how to survive. There's all kinds of solutions. There's different ways, but if people don't want to do it, you got to have the heart to really want to get out there and do these things.
Yeah. So all right. So I'm gonna so let Bakari finish, and then Shanique came on here. I'm gonna let Shanique go, and then we're gonna finish up. But go ahead, Shanique. I mean Bakari.
You know, even when you're talking about like me and trucking, you have something called DBE that's supposed to help you get certain contracts, right? But you have to be in business a certain amount of time. They want to go through your business, make sure you're making a certain amount of money. Just like with some of these, so it's like, so for a person with one truck like me, even if you sign up for this Georgia highway thing and they have to get your DBE, you have to be guaranteed certain contracts, but you have to be in business. Like I have one truck, I ain't making as much money as people with 4 and 5 trucks and 6 trucks. You understand what I'm saying? So even with that, sometimes it get a little, and DB disadvantage business endeavors. I think that I'm just saying, I can't even remember what the E stand for, but that's what for disadvantaged businesses. But it's, I don't know, they make that a little difficult too. I've seen people with companies got 15 trucks rolling all the time and they considered disadvantage, and shit, it was originally written supposed to be for black folks. Now everybody can get it. So
All right. Yo, so my bad. Go ahead. Yeah, because
no, that's it.
no, yeah, I think that kind of stuff is important. Yo, what up, Shanique? What's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Forecast? I'm glad that I caught this video because the last time you spoke about what you were going to have on, I was looking forward to it. It's interesting that the information you put out in that video, or that you showed in that video, is out there, and sadly, a lot of us don't avail ourselves to the information that's available, because you hear about grants, so we've heard about them, but it's always the fear of, oh, it's so daunting, oh, I need a grant writer, oh, how do I do it? And so it can be a little bit discouraging. Getting started, doing the things, it's sad because like there's so many things, like the sister mentioned, there's so many things you want to do to help the community. I recall my husband had me and our kids out, and we live in Arizona, but we've gone out to Phoenix, and we're in a kind of a suburb sort of Arizona, but we've gone to the city of, gone to Phoenix and down to the area where you've got all these homeless people, and there's a shelter, and there's always, extra people outside who have nowhere to be, and they're trying to give them just as much stress as they can, and there's no food, and we're trying to just do what we're supposed to as a community. And so we've done that. And here, if we had thought, oh, it's as simple as, oh, just grab a grant, we would be coming out of our pocket just flat saying, okay, we don't have it now to do it because we've done it when we had extra. But now this is an idea, and I'm glad that that's all I want to say. I'm glad that you have that information out there, because sometimes, I'll be honest, we get a little lazy and you don't want to go looking and doing all the legwork to find out the information or how to do the thing that you imagine in your mind. Oh, I could do this, or I could do that to help my people, but you just don't do it. And for me, I'll work for people. I don't know, sadly, my husband hates it, but I'll work for people forever as opposed to just starting my own business. That's it.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, I agree with you. K-Shaw said minority means illegal immigrant. Yeah, I would say so, but not just them. You know what I'm saying? Y'all would get mad at me about, so I'm not gonna say who else I include in there. So I'm gonna stay on topic this time.
Minority mean white women.
Minority does mean white women too.
Yeah, Shanique, yeah, like my thing is work hard for yourself and your people. And, I learned that the hard way. I figured, I worked hard for the Navy 14 years of my life. And then I realized, damn, I'm not even putting anything into myself, or so that's what got me turned around, is that I needed to work hard for myself and my people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's facts. So, all right, I'm not gonna really play this one. This is Northwestern Mutual. They got some startup, like, investing in startups if you are like a business or whatever and you want to like try to apply. I know Bakari had something when Ben Uko was on here too. I'm not sure if that program's still going on. So I don't know. Let me see if I have one more. Okay, yeah. So let me play this one because this is 3 factors why Black-owned businesses fail. I probably should have played this one earlier because this is like the negative one that's supposed to go before the positive. But all right.
Business is hard. If you're a Black and brown entrepreneur, it's even harder. In this video, we want to focus on why Black and brown entrepreneurs fail, and we're also going to provide tools to succeed in the world of entrepreneurship.
Hey man, I ain't trying to be funny. So rewind.
I know, Bakari. I know. I didn't say that. I've been my tongue, Bakari.
Definitely get trying to include other people.
This is hard. If you're a Black and brown entrepreneur, it's even harder. In this video, we want to focus on why Black and brown entrepreneurs fail, and we're also going to provide tools to succeed in the world of entrepreneurship. Because of self-doubt. We conducted over 100 interviews in late 1990, early 2020. One thing just kept coming up over and over: self-doubt. Sometimes the self-doubt came from their family. Sometimes it came from within their own head. And sometimes it came from systemic messages about what Blacks cannot do. It gets into what's called systemic racism. Black and brown people run into racism in school, in business. You tell someone that you can't do something long enough, and then they start thinking that way. We got to replace that voice with, I can do this, I got this. We can say all day that we believe in ourselves, but what do we have to do beyond that? We got to show up. We got to put ourselves in the situation of challenge and see how we do. So we want to be coachable. We want to have grit. You got to be willing to fail and know that failure is part of the game. Another thing that we found out was the lack of trust. So if I cannot trust my teammate, we're not going to make progress. If there is no progress in business, it's called failure.
Now, the thing is, right, now I'm a Black quarterback, right? It's 2 Black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, Bakari. If I can't trust Bakari to run the right route, I'm going to throw an interception. And the other team is going to get 7 points, you know what I'm saying? But also, if Bakari intentionally, you know what I'm saying, like tells the other team to play or something, or, you know what I'm saying, even if he's not all the way into the game, you know what I'm saying, he may not run the route as crisp, you know what I'm saying, and it caused me to get sacked or something, or fumble or something like that, you know what I mean? So,
I have
this is actually a positive video. There ain't nothing negative about this. He telling the truth about some entrepreneurs. He telling the truth about the entrepreneur. In all honesty, so I don't even see this as anything negative.
Yeah,
Me either.
Fair enough.
Yeah, this totally was on point, and it's something to identify where the weaknesses are, so then you know where you've got to look out for, what the hurdles may very well be, or identify what's stopping you from making that progress.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a good point. So I guess it's bigger than me, you know what I'm saying, knows better than I do.
Concept called open book management. And open book management is a method to get employees to buy in to what the CEO is talking about. You need to hire employees that you can trust, and then you can open up your books. Now they start thinking like the owner. Now your chance to have a successful business just leaped. What does the leader have to do to gain that trust? They have to be open. They have to be honest. So you have to believe in me, and I have to believe in you. It has to be a two-way street. The third reason why Black and brown entrepreneurs fail is because of lack of resources, lack of support for entrepreneurs that are Black and brown. In our research, we found they didn't know where to go. They didn't get the right help. They didn't have family members, mentors inside the family. Because of COVID-19,
they didn't have a daddy who got like a fortune by killing people, you know what I'm saying, and raping people and taking stuff.
Black Lives Matters came up as an issue. So resources came out. Grants are now out there. Small Business Development Center is now focusing on Black entrepreneurs. So the resources are there. It's just the fact that we now have to go out and find those resources. The best resource you could find is to find a mentor. Having someone that you can talk to that is willing to share their knowledge and their experience is a huge factor to success. My favorite entrepreneur story is about the entrepreneur who failed 20 times. And on number 21, he got it right because it's perseverance, a belief in yourself. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have challenges. You're going to get knocked down. And what do? We get up.
Right. So, yeah, I'm gonna let y'all say. Yo, Bakari, you want to say, and then, yeah, go ahead, Bakari.
No, you know what? I like that video. He is right. Like, we don't know a lot of times where to get the money from. A lot of time it is lack of knowledge of the business or lack of belief in yourself. And it's according to what business you're in, lack of trust that you get from the lack of trust that you get from your own people, and not the willingness to help. Now, of course, racism and bigotry plays a huge part in it. And a lot of these industries, 98% of them, racism and bigotry plays a part in all of them. And one of my issues, like when I have my pressure washing company, before I gave that to my son, I was working on a contract with Walmart. And this is something he didn't say, it was severe. And there was this black lady who was the manager of this one Walmart that I went to. I knew they needed a pressure washer to come clean their stores because everybody was complaining about the pressure washer they had. The one guy they had hired his cousin, right? So, but he never showed up. So this guy's getting $1,300 a month per store for 20 stores, right? But he don't even show up every month. But anyway, so I go to the black, call Walmart because they told me that's what I had to do. And I gave them all my information. And after I gave them all my information, my business, everything, they were like, well, the store managers make that decision. If the store manager choose you, normally all the stores in that district or maybe even the region would go with your business. And it was the black lady who was the store manager. And I was standing there. She was scared to death to say yes. I said, I know y'all need it. Yeah, we need a pressure washer. So why don't you just hire me? And the white assistant manager was standing next to her. And you could have seen how she was looking at him. I'm like, damn, you the manager. Well, then he said, you got to call Walmart. And she was like, yeah, you got to call Walmart. So I called Walmart right in front of them. And they were like, well, you just called here. We told you it's up to the store manager. So now in that process, by it being up to the store manager, she was afraid to say yes. And they just gave the contract and she just went along with them giving the contract back to the same white boy. You know, $1,300 times 20, that's a lot of money, right? She just gave that same contract. She helped them give that contract back to that same white boy that the other store managers and everything was complaining about. And all she had to do was look at me and say, yeah, you can get it. When can you start? I gave her everything that she needed. It was pure fear.
Yeah.
And I hear the mic.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bakari. That's another one he didn't mention. Go ahead, Lightbearer, and then it's gonna be on Shanique.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about that support and people being on that one page. We got people in places that can make differences. Like in Kari's case, you know, she could have made a big difference, and she shouldn't have had no squirms about it. But that's whatever. She shouldn't have had no emotions whatsoever about helping a brother if she was about that business. But she, you know, evidently she's not about that. She's there in that position only for herself. That's what I'm talking about. You know, we got people in places that won't even. They wonder why situations are the way they are, but they don't realize they're working in these jobs where they've been just as unjust to their people, their own, as anybody else, and they marginalized, they sizes up, judge, you might as well say, and then see they're part of the problem. Other people that look like us become part of the problem when they don't use their power that they've been given or they've gotten to help someone else. Not yet.
Yeah. Yo, Buwana.
Let me say this right quick. I would have immediately had to hire at least 3 more black people to run and maybe 4 to run a different crew. At least 3 more to run a different crew. But she was too scared to give me the contract. I already had the people who I was going to hire.
Yeah, so it is all Shanique. But let me say, shouts out to Buwana. You know what I'm saying? He probably in here with his Chiefs or his he definitely got a Mahomes jersey on. But go ahead, Shanique.
You're funny. Yeah, you know what? It's funny. I have a similar story to what Bakari mentioned. Because my husband has a cheesecake business. Right now he's on a hiatus because he had to work as well. And I was doing it, then I had to work. But we were doing the cheesecakes and selling them to a restaurant down in Phoenix. And my husband was like, you know what? We need to branch out. There's a restaurant, a Caribbean restaurant. I think I'm gonna go and see what they think about our cheesecake. So he goes there, he speaks to the manager, black man, from the islands, but he was very gruff. And then as he's explaining to him and bringing the product and telling him what he'll do, there's a woman who works for him or with him. And she's like, oh, you can't buy their things. They cook out of their home. Meanwhile, there's such a thing as cottage laws. And we knew about them, but I'm thinking, wow, like you really took the energy to throw that rock because you didn't have to do that. I mean, if it was some issue, I'm sure you're supplying things. You could make an arrangement. We could have baked it out of the restaurant that he had. There was some other thing that could have been done, but we're so eager to shut down someone else because we have that fear, I think, that, oh, there can only be one. We can't let another one of us get up. And it's sad that woman had that mindset of, oh, I'm afraid. She's in a position of power, but she didn't have any power. She was willing to yield it to someone else because what if Bakari's business wasn't what they were going to be happy about? They were already unhappy about something else, but they didn't even want to have faith in ourselves. It's like we sit and watch all of the old movies that have us hemming and hawing and slack and lazy, and they believe that mindset, and we can't allow each other to be great. That's all.
No, you going in and y'all all make great points. Yeah, go ahead, Library.
I was saying I agree 100%, Shanique. 100% with that.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad, but I appreciate what Forecast is doing because I'm telling you, you lighting the fire again to me. Like, okay, I'm gonna go in and try again because I will tell you flat out, I'm an only child. I hate rejection. I hate the idea of failure. If I know that I'm not going to necessarily blow this out the water, then I'm totally afraid to do it. And that's where I'm glad I have my husband because he won't take no for an answer for most things. And he's willing to try something for once, anytime. So I think I just got to be that energy behind it. But the tools are also what are needed. And the fact that you put that out there and you put the information out and the encouragement, it's awesome. You guys don't realize how much of a encouragement and a resource you offer our people. I'm sure there's people who don't come on who are really being encouraged and uplifted, and you were the word they needed to hear right now.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. And that's the thing about rejection, you know what I'm saying? You're only going to be I guess to get spooked out real quick, you're only going to be rejected by the stuff that you're not supposed to have. Anything that's for you is going to be for you anyway. But, as far as rejection, if you keep going, you cannot be rejected from whatever you're trying to achieve. You may not go with this certain person or this certain organization or this certain product or whatever. But if you keep going, there is no rejection, you know what I'm saying, to sound spooked out in a way. It's only there when you give up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
100% Forecast. Yeah, 100% on that. And only greatness does not reject you. If it's great for you, it will not. If it's made for you, it will not reject you. If it's just right and perfect opportunity, it will not reject you.
Yeah, facts. And that's the thing. I don't know if y'all caught that too. You know what I'm saying? He was like, the dude in the video was talking about Black Lives Matter, and as a result of that, and learning how to commoditize for yourself instead of being the commodity. You know what I'm saying? Like how even if you go march, learn how to get that to be able to use. If you want to be like marching is the answer, I would agree with you if you can find a way to make that way to be effective to where you can commoditize it. You know what I'm saying? Where you can profit off of it, like how that I opened up grants and you take the grants. Now the problem is this minority, and he talking about black and brown and all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's the issue. You know what I'm saying? We love everybody, and that's why I know a lot of y'all be mad at me when I try to be hard on y'all, but I'll just be trying to make y'all love each other first, you know, because you can't love your neighbor if you don't love the people in your own house, you know. But anyway, you know, learning how to turn whatever you do into a gain for you, you know what I'm saying, like to whatever that's going to boost you. And ultimately, you know, it may be far-fetched at this point in time with the community working together, but you know, you got to use what you have to use to your advantage, you know what I'm saying.
And forecast, just to piggyback back off what you just said, when we were fighting for integration, a lot of us didn't love ourselves or love each other. There was all kinds of complaints about, you know, books compared to in school and compared to the white schools. And of course, we know the leader, Martin Luther King, his father was, you know, from what I found out about him, such a man that he felt like the white way was the right way. So of course he raised his son in that manner, and you know, it was only natural for him to begin to see the world like that and give us the ideology and pass the ideology to us, and become one big influence upon us as a society, that we got to love them more than we love ourselves. And that's what happened with integration.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I think most black people wasn't like they like look like you. It's like hindsight is 2020. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one thing to talk about the school when the school is an outhouse. You gotta go in the outhouse. There's no electricity, no, and it's cold and stuff like that, and you getting taxed and stuff, and they're talking about whatever. Now, it's my theory that integration was a part of like the NAACP, which was Jewish owned. You know what I'm saying? If you look up the court case, it was about equal funding. And then they said, well, you can't be equal unless you go to their stuff and their establishments. You know what I'm saying? So I say that, you know, integration was a move by them against us, and it worked damn good too. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to realize you are in a war. Your enemy is going to use why do you think that trolls come in here and listen to us so they can come and proselytize to you? So like when you hear somebody being like, oh, that white boy telling the truth, and then he's going to slip in there or something like, oh, well, you know, Bakari, you know, the forecast is trying to snake you, you know what I'm saying? But he'll be like, well, racism exists and Jewish people do this, but you know, Bakari forecast trying to, how you know what I'm trying to do? You know what I'm saying? They will sneak in this and all of this stuff. But like as far as integration though, you know what I'm saying? Look, it was about the money, you know what I'm saying? We had the businesses and stuff, and let's not act like, you know, there wasn't a bunch of stuff. That's a whole nother thing because there was a bunch of stuff with it. But,
exactly, because it was during the time of you got to realize 1920s when what was going on back then, but they was having the depression, the Great Depression, financially. So they saw us doing well. We were doing well, you know. We had pretty decent schools. I mean, it wasn't too bad. I mean,
yeah,
their fear has always been that we would do better.
Lightbearer, think about that. Like we had, while they was having their quote unquote Great Depression, we was booming economic, probably doing the best that we've ever done. Like that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So that's why they had to go through the drastic measure to bomb us. You know, and then they, you know, the nerve of them to say, pull yourself up by your shoestrings. Let's forget that they didn't pull themselves ever by the shoestrings. They had to, like you said, kill, steal, and purge, and you know, just to get what they want. It's always been their history.
Yeah. Hey, Bakari, how did the Kennedys get their wealth, Bakari?
Mob ties.
Oh, okay.
Probably some slavery. But for sure, they were mobsters. But that's the greatest president we ever had. That's what one of your homeboys said. He was good to us. He was good to us.
But
Sorry, see, look at it like this. The evidence is, like they say, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yep, all of them died, right? All of them died early, right?
Hey, Bakari, your boy said John Adams was the greatest president. So don't, I don't know why you talking about me.
Well, who would know? That's your boy who say John Adams and JFK.
Yeah, Shanique, you want to say Shanique and Bakari, y'all want to say something before I show the last thing? I think the Super Bowl almost over, so we go wrap it up, y'all. But I'm joking, but I don't want to be long because this is a good show. I want people to watch it though, so I don't want it to be super long.
Yeah, I don't have, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't have anything to say. I really appreciate what I've seen so far. I'm gonna run it back, watch it again, try to be encouraged and take the tidbits, the information that you put out there. I really want our people to see that no matter what the adversity throughout the history, you keep showing it. It's obvious we can overcome. It's just taking that step. And I'm saying this more even for myself than anybody else, but we have to do it. That fact that they went and did all of the stuff that they did, they knew when they got to integration, it was like, oh, we got them. Like, I'm not gonna go biblical, but that was the thing right there. That was how do we get them to be confused for the next, I don't know how many years, because now that's what we have. Because even when you find that you're able to do something, you can't think about, most people won't even contemplate the idea of being separate. They make it seem as though if you say you're separate or want to be separate, oh, you're a racist. No, I want to be just my own people. And the funny thing is that in every state in this country, you've got a little Tokyo, a little Japan, a little something. So all of these people who come here go and do that very thing that we can't seem to duplicate anymore since they quashed it. And that's it.
No,
hey,
yeah.
Can I say something right quick about what she just said?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna show you something with the little China and all that. The ones that come here, they ain't set it up. The ones that been here all these years got it set up for them. So when they come, yeah, they probably get funding from over there. But those people, everybody, they work together, and that's something that we have to start doing. We have to be able to get past, I can't deal with you because you say you Hebrew. If you want to have that debate and fun, but when you make it so personal, well, I can't deal with you because you're a Christian. I can't deal with you because you're a Moor, or you're a, or you say you're African. When it gets so personal like that, we can't build what we need to build because all those barriers are in the way. We got to learn how to cross tribal lines. It's just that simple.
You're right. You're right. We do.
Yeah. To that comment you had on there about the would you be all right with Jim Crow? We wouldn't even be paying attention to Jim Crow because Jim Crow wouldn't have no say for anything.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we would create what we did. There would be how many? Sorry.
Yeah, I would say I would be.
We want to speak whatever language we want to speak it in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was a straight cut. Yeah,
be a total cut off.
Yeah, that's a good question though. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody would ask you that. You know what I'm saying? And that might throw you off if it's somebody else who asks you that. But I would say I would be cool with Tyrone Jenkins laws. How about that? You know what I'm saying? Because if I want to hire only black people, so be it. So. And it's separate but equal. You say C. Plessy versus Ferguson. That's what you tell them because that's what separate but equal is.
That's still giving them the power when you say the Jim Crow law. You want to separate and have your own laws. You don't want anything connected to them. You want to disconnect and have your own power and no one be over you. Because that in a way is saying you're trying to separate but you're still under them. That you might as well stay. You might as well not try to have your own. I mean, they don't have Jim Crow and Chinese. that white people walk through their communities. You know, they love the Chinese, they love the restaurants and everything. So
yeah, go ahead, Shanique. Go ahead.
Oh, also sorry. Yeah, no, you're right. And it's funny because there's a lot of golf resorts and all these different places. I remember back when we first moved here, my husband and I, we all were part of some resorts. And I remember going there at the time. We had a Tiger Woods edition vehicle, and we would come there with our children. And it was funny, we're members, but people are looking at us all sideways, and we're thinking we paid the same thing you did, or we couldn't be here. But the idea was, hey, you should know not to be involved in this. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And with that same energy, I would feel the same way. Stay out of my hood. Like, I would love to have a place that I know all the faces are like mine, and they all either get dealt with when they're doing things that we all community-wise agree are not okay by us. And we know that we're not about to mistreat one another when one goes wayward. And we know that when someone needs assistance, we would help them to be built up. Like that community aspect that all these other little communities give themselves, because it happens. It's only our individual. It's like we have to fight up a hill individually, because it's been said in the whispers in the trees, oh, you know, you black people can't get together. You black people can't get together. And the truth is, we could if we just said, fine, we recognize that by and large, you guys really don't want to be with us. And truth of the matter is, we don't want to be with you. We've seen your track record. So how about separating? And then let's see what happens. And as it did before, we'll see again what happens. And I think we'd be better for it. I believe that.
Yeah, and
we'd be prepared to shoot down their missiles.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what you have to prepare for. And it comes to, you know, like, it comes back to a time, you know what I'm saying, like what Erica asked, that's like what she said is a good question. I think a lot of the problems was the violence back then, you know what I'm saying, and the lynchings. But you know what black people was doing back then, you know, Bakari, what Robert F. Williams was saying, Bakari, if you there.
Negro with guns. You got to do what Robert, yeah, if you want to do it, get the gun and knife. What do you say? The gun and nightstick, the gas bomb, the ice pick, whatever you fight, you got to fight back. Whatever you can get, whatever weapon you can make, that's what you got to fight back with. That's what Robert F. Williams say.
Yeah, and you know, and we've been talking about you know, doing the things, and the problem is, you know, you are in a community and you are with a group of people that even if you do, because they said like go back to Africa, and let's say we all did, right? Let's say we did for real. 5 months, 5 years, they're gonna be over there trying to do the same thing and repeat the same process. And if you don't learn from, you know, history and learn that you wasn't just like, yo, because that era, you know, people was actually putting in more work than we were. It was just, you know, I say you got to be willing to sacrifice your children, and I don't mean like throw them in a volcano and kill them or nothing like that. But you know, they was doing like sending their children into these marches and sending their children into these schools. Like that's sacrificing your children. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is like, if you're gonna put in the work, you might come into jeopardy, but you have to prepare your children to you know, live that lifestyle if that's what you really want to do. But that's kind of extreme, so I don't even want to take it there. But y'all want to say one last thing, because I'm gonna show one thing and let y'all close out with it, because we talking about you know, with the Jim Crow thing. Right, you know, I won't come to your town if you don't come to mine, you know. You wanted to say something?
Overstand, Raquel.
Yeah. Yeah, you wanted to say something, Shanique?
No, just that I totally agree with the fact that we have to make some radical change. Like you said, there has to be a consensus that yes, we are willing to make the hard decisions. And just like we were willing to be beat upside the head, supposedly for peace sake, we need to be able to say that if we see one of our men, women, children being attacked by someone, that we're willing to risk life and limb for them. And that's something that's not where we're at. If we can't even get to the point where we risk our job for another Black person, like we got to get to that place. But I appreciate the business info, and I'm really trying to just follow that energy. That's it.
Yeah, facts. All right, so let me show you all this last thing, and then I'm gonna let y'all close out with this. You know what I'm saying? And like it goes to like what Erica's, because that was a great question. You know what I'm saying? So listen to this, yo.
Differences between. Actually, I'm not a racist or anything, but I can't live with that people. That's one of the main differences between us and the people in South Africa. The way they behave. And it's not us that have to change our attitude. They have to change their behavior. If they want to be reckoned as civilized people, then they should act like civilized people.
You cannot. The end of a party.
Oh, you can get something to drink, cigarettes, very important. Afrikaners smoke, you know. Same here, I can walk into the butchery. Marlies, I walk into my bank. I transact in my language.
1,300 people.
This is in Africa. This white man talking about I do all this in my stuff.
Live in Kleinfontein. Whilst many of them work outside of the town, others help to ensure the autonomy of this microstate by raising livestock and cultivating the land within the walls.
We have to protect ourselves from, as a cultural entity, to become extinct. The Rainbow Nation is a threat to the Afrikaner, because the Rainbow Nation says, leave your differences, let's all be the same.
I don't see black.
Yo, you hear this African Bakari sound like us.
Afrikaner, not African.
No, I don't think he sounds like us, because they took their butts to a place that they're Dutch. They were supposed to be in their land. They come from somewhere else. To intrude onto other people. You know, we've always had our land. They just did the same thing any colonizer does.
Yep, facts. And go ahead.
No, yep, I agree. They're just repeat, like you said, it's rinse and repeat. They're doing the same thing with a nice little rhetoric that they always have to claim someone else's things and say that, oh, we need to preserve our culture. What culture? What have you not stolen? What belongs to you? I don't understand, but I agree with being separate. I just don't think they don't want to go back to wherever it was they were and be there, because even they don't want to be amongst themselves.
They're the very same Dutch that enslaved us.
A vicious folks too, a cruel and vicious people.
Yeah, great point. Great point. You hear that? You know, for all of those who say, you know, how can you compare them? Everybody did this. Well, they're on their land, right? So
You don't see people of other cultures, yeah.
But also,
you seem to have a color visor on you.
Danny de Beer is skilled in dealing with the media, but the other inhabitants are not as used to waffling.
Okay, actually, I'm not a racist or anything, but I can't live with that people. That's yeah, we stay together. We're all one kind, and we look after each other. So,
well, in Africa,
easier.
Everyone here is nostalgic for the apartheid regime, and they proudly wear the symbol of the old South Africa.
That's also the field clear, but with the orange band at the bottom, that means that we're in a struggle. We're in a struggle for our language. We're in a struggle for our life.
are you afraid to be in South Africa?
I'm not afraid of anything.
I don't know. Did Nelson Mandela fail? That's a good question. Did he?
Forecast, real quick. These people have they're a small minority of people, white Dutch there, but they got majority of the wealth. We got South Africans that are so poor and living in shantytown. It's a disgrace.
And they talking about they should get out of their way because they want them to be separate. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why they're not in the Netherlands somewhere, but
hey, you know why I ain't gonna complain about that? You let somebody come kick your ass and stay on your land all that damn time, and y'all got them motherfuckers outnumbered 100 to 1 and you ain't done nothing, you deserve to constantly get your ass kicked. I don't give a damn who you are.
So what we deserve, Bakari?
They're under the Jesus spell.
If you constantly let people kick your ass and don't ever want to fight back,
we still getting our asses kicked. We still getting our asses kicked and killed and everything right now in this very country.
But watch this.
Person.
No, but he was let me show you. But he was showing South Africa. We're not on our own home. We are not outnumbering them 100 to 1. They outnumber us, right? But still, you should want to fight. You should still want to fight. But I'm talking about when you outnumber people that big and you don't fight back.
It seems pretty obvious that they should just run over. But every time they attempt to make some type of uprising, here come the United States and some other people, and they demonize their uprising, and then they come in and throw confusion, and they quash it. They just quash it. I think it should be all over the world. Anybody that has a deep amount of melanin should just rise up. I mean, it's just odd that, like you said, they're the majority of people, yet these minority is taking over their land. I don't understand it, but I also don't understand how we get killed every day here, and nothing, and all we do is bring the preachers and get to pleading and marching. And I mean, I granted we can't just go out and fight, or can we?
It's no different.
Hell yeah, we can. And I'm a big advocate of that. I am a big advocate of that.
Yeah,
but it ain't enough of us want to do it. I want.
You're right. You're right. I think that's where it's going to come to eventually. Because if you hear them talking there, we found out a few years ago here that there's a lot of folks that have a melanin deficiency that feel the exact same way here, and they wish to have this quote race war. And my thought is, you want to fight when you're already oppressing. I don't understand. But it just goes to show you there's going to be fight brought to your door at some point. So we have to somehow preach getting ready.
Yeah, and by the way, Bawana, quash means to stop before it gets too big. You know what I'm saying? Put it to an end. But all right, I'll finish this and then I'll let y'all say what y'all want to say.
These people believe that a civil war is on the brink of breaking out between the blacks and the whites. Protected by armed men, Andre Beitenbach is the leader of this movement. His aim is to create...
Now, is white people in South Africa talking about arming themselves to protect their ethno-state in South Africa by any means necessary? You know what I'm saying?
Forecast, I guess I did because I did. But let me show you something. Okay, remember when Julius Malema was doing all the talk, right? And black people started rising up. So black people even sent a message. You know, black people had started killing South Africans over there. I'm just, in all honesty, they had started killing them Afrikaners, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guess who went to help those white people? Guess who sent mercenaries over there to give them military training and all the weapons they need?
Don't you say
the
Obama.
No, the Jews, the same people black folks blame everything on. I keep telling y'all, white is white. Stop trying to separate them because they don't see themselves as separate. They sent military and mercenary to train militias, and they sent them weapons to fight. White is white.
I agree with you, but you know they're gonna say, like, you know, well, see, you know, they sent the stuff over there, so is their influence. They will use that, you know. I agree with you. I understand. You know, I couldn't tell you if I saying like, oh, it's a white boy. You know what I'm saying? This is a white dude here, but it's Dutch, French, you know, whatever. But I agree with you. But they will use it the other way too. You know what I'm saying?
They're not even really Jews. It's just all falsehood. It's like their pretend world that we all live in, as you can see. Because all this going into South Africa and acting this way is their mental illness.
Yeah. All right.
An independent state where no black people are allowed.
But I can tell you the white people in this country, they do not do it. If the train is late, we do not put the train to fire. If the buses are late, we don't put the buses on fire.
And if we are unsatisfied with the services delivered, we don't start throwing stones and burning tires and those kind of things. That's one of the main differences between us and the black people in South Africa, the way they behave. And it's not us that have to change our attitude. They have to change their behavior. If they want to be reckoned as civilized people, then they should act like civilized people.
You're not civilized.
Well, they must demonstrate that they are civilized, then we will believe that they are civilized.
And there's something like somebody who got what he has off of rape. Like, what does rape have to do with, like, off of rape, killing, and talking about civilized? You know what I'm saying? Ain't that something?
The gall. The gall, the unmitigated gall, the complete nerve. Like, these are the most savage individuals ever. And teaching them to tame themselves is difficult. And yet you want to speak about people who are trying to just get justice in their own land as being uncivilized? I can't. Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry. Oh, my goodness.
It's an openly racist rhetoric. For Andre Brace.
All right. So that's the last thing. And the Super Bowl must be over since hardcore in the chat. So, y'all got something to say about Bukari? How do you feel about this African saying that the black people must civilize themselves? Bukari?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
What
I think about that is, I'm gonna say it again. Black folks, 85% of the population. If you don't want to go kill them folks and take your land back, that's your problem. You understand? If we don't want to fight here, in all honesty, if we don't ever, people can kill our children here, and we get up and say, I forgive. Can kill your mom and daddy. I forgive. It seems like all of the fight has been beaten out of black people unless we're fighting black people. That's a problem. So what? See, I'm gonna tell you, when people hate Idi Amin, but that was the greatness of Idi Amin, in my opinion, right? Idi Amin wanted to stop all that. Idi Amin was trying to get a whole black African military together. Idi Amin is the one who trained Khalid Muhammad in guerrilla warfare. But the same person who wanted to fight all those people and get all those foreigners like he did in Uganda, if you weren't African, get out of my country. If you ain't black, get out the country. That's what he wanted to do with the continent. And it was black people that turned on him and just believed every story white people say about him. Oh, he was just so mean. He killed so many people. He did this and he did that. Because he was trying to get rid of, he's the only one made white people, when you come to my country, you're going to kneel and bow to me. You ain't no king here. This our country.
Yeah, people.
But we listened to what they said about him. Not saying he was perfect. Because ain't nobody perfect, not even me. And that was hard for me to understand one time. But anyway, in order to get these people off your back, you're going to have to get them off your back the same way they got on your back. If we don't want to understand the length of violence that in trickery that these people will go through, like y'all say y'all a Jew, that's a trick. Say y'all Jew, we gonna say we white, we gonna say y'all ain't no. That's a trick that black people tend to fall for and point at one, but they're all working together. If we don't understand in what they are willing to do to keep control, like film you while they kneeling on your neck for 9 seconds, film you while you being shot coming out the corner store of Mike Brown, film you or scream you shooting while you laying on the ground with nothing in your hand, you in a fetal position, and they shoot you, or they can shoot a double amputee 30 times. I'm saying 30, it wasn't 30, but it was about 10, 15 times. They want us to see that to keep us standing this. You know what? You know what's gonna happen if we try to fight them. man, all they gonna do is just come kill us. But goddamn, what you doing with your gun? One day I told him, what you doing with your gun? Shit, kill some niggas. Pardon my French, but that's what he said. I say, but you just said white people. Yeah, that's different though. I'm like, goddamn, I got you. I just turned around and left. I got you. I hear the mic. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's funny what you said that about Idi Amin and how they turned around. You know, that's just senseless. That's just that. This goes back to that white logic, and you know what you said about people thinking you're perfect. That's white. That's the way white people think. They think that if you like my name Lightbearer, they think that somehow I'm a divine and I think I'm divine and perfect or something, but that's not what that means. You got to be able to have a higher understanding. If you're not on that level, you're still on that white man's level, you're going to take that white man's word for everything and see the world from his lens. And that's what happens, you know. And, you know, you don't look at, and they don't see no fault in this white man. It's all right for him to kill everybody, put you in a state of fear, but just don't let this black man do it. You know, it's crazy. And they just shot a black man in his mouth, and they ain't even had no news on that information. It's just crazy. It's beyond me how mind and mentally fucked up our people really are.
Yeah, fact. All right, and then also I'll do we gonna let Shanique go in, and then Hardcore can say, and then we're gonna close it out after that. So go ahead, Shanique, go.
Oh, I mean, if you wanna let Hardcore, because he just got on, that's fine. I'll go after.
Well, no, it was because we were closing out that was the last video, and we're closing out the topic. You know what I'm saying? So
okay. Well, you know what? I like what Bakari said because it made me think. Because the first thing I thought when he mentioned Idi Amin was, well, the first thing that came to mind was that song, Idi Amin, Ya Wanted Man, because I thought about that. And the propaganda story is that he was all wicked, all evil. And as anyone, he's imperfect. So what he may have wanted to do and what he did do, there was good and bad in it. What I think we have to remember, though, is that we are only getting most of our information about the people that look like us and have attempted to make change from people who don't look like us. And so they have to do the spin where they're so all-encompassingly evil. And so then we, as being empathetic, heartfelt people, because we have compassion, that's a trait of our people. We have compassion and we have a sense of justice. And because we have that, we think, oh, well, that's wrong. He did wrong. And when someone who does something who looks like us does something, we go, oh, we have to handle that. And the truth is, we have to get to a place where we realize we have to do some uncomfortable things, and it's not going to all be good and sweet. But when it comes to that point, you have to not hesitate. The same way you would not hesitate for a ninja, as people do, we have to not hesitate when it's a situation that is clear in our mind. This is wrong. We have to stand up, and you're willing to face and pay that last ultimate price. We have to get to that place. But we also have to be that fearless with everything. Like, I realized this conversation brought me to what we talked about the other day, where you mentioned, I think Bakari mentioned it, or I mentioned it and he mentioned it, about the Black Panthers. They approach this mindset of uplifting us, their people from all levels, from health, from finance, from nutrition, from protection, like all of it. You can't drop one ball, and we have to get to that place. And some of us aren't necessarily ready to pick up the weapon and do what needs to be done, but there's other ways that they can work. We just have to get together, and on all those angles, like the sister said, we got to be prepared for the missiles. Well, we know that it's coming because they've already done that in their own country. How was it, Philly? They did that to our people in their own country, bombed us. The idea that we continue to exist, knowing that they assaulted us on their own country with war-like weapons and nothing.
Also,
and
Black Wall Street, Shanique.
Hey, let me say this right quick, Forecast, before you get the hard call, right? When Shanique said about Idi Amin, I want to ask people this because it's something I meant to say. What's the president name that came after Idi Amin? Do anybody know? No, nobody know the president that took. And you know why you don't know? Because they didn't talk about it. But look him up. I can't even remember it right now off the top of my head, but look it up. He killed more Ugandans, way more Ugandans than Idi Amin.
Was it
He
Museveni?
took all when Idi Amin ran all those foreigners out of Uganda and gave all those stores and land back to black African people. When he took control, he took all the stores, all the businesses, all the land from black Africans and gave it back to foreigners, and then put the country back into European hands. That's why they don't talk about him. He totally reversed everything Idi Amin did, but then they tell us Idi Amin is the devil.
The Mussolini wasn't, you know, these people demonize those people who were trying to do good. And I don't think Mussolini, he wasn't, did you mention Mussolini, Ali Khan?
Oh no, I said Museveni.
Oh, Mussolini. Okay, I thought you said Mussolini.
All right, so
I can't think of his name right now, but he killed way more than Idi Amin. Way more.
I think
don't nobody even.
I think Al Khan just said someone. What's his name?
Yeah, I never heard of him.
No, you just said a name.
Well, but one I guess he has the right guy, but I never heard of him.
Yeah, I don't know. But all right, yo. So what up, Hardcore? So after you go there, yeah, go ahead. What's up, bro?
Yeah, it's over. I picked the Chiefs because I knew it was scripted, fixed Super Bowl. So people, that's why I like picking ahead of schedule. So when you see the results, you can see I analyze it. But anyway, people got to understand Africans.
Hey, Hardcore. At least a black quarterback won the Super Bowl, right?
Well, I mean, I knew that's how it was going to go down. So they need him to be the face of the NFL. So it is what it is. When his son comes into the game, that'll be different. But yeah, so Africans, man, they're we have to come to the realization that Africans are cowards. I know some people ain't gonna like what I'm saying, but that comes down to the raw facts. When you have white people in your own country telling you they're ready to go to war, even though they're totally outnumbered, that should tell you something. But Africans have never, whether it's the Turks in North Africa who call themselves Arabs, none of them are interested in fighting off any foreigners. Only when somebody tells them that these people are your enemies do they finally say, okay, well, maybe they are. But yet you got people, all African, I'm not going to say all, but most Africans consider people in Africa to be Africans if they're born in Africa. Now, the Pan-African way of thinking is the opposite. So that's why I always critique Pan-Africanism, not because it's ideology that is opposite mine, but because that's the way it is. And again, I dated a Nigerian woman. She considered everybody from Tunisia to South Africa Africans. I try to tell her that these people are foreign invaders, foreign occupiers of your land. And she said, if they were born in Africa, they're Africans. I said, well, okay, well, if that's the way you feel, you're the African, I'm not. So I'm not going to keep arguing with you. If you don't mind it, then I guess everybody can come in and get a free for all. So, and as far as Uganda goes, even a few years ago, they invited the East Indians back to take control of the economy again. This is why I critique Africans, because you have to be total dimwits to need somebody like East Indians to come in and control your economy because you're too stupid to do it yourselves. Matter of fact, there's a video on YouTube where an East Indian man said just what I said. He said the Africans are too stupid to run their economy, so they need us. That's hardcore, but at the same time, it's a hardcore reality. You got a whole country. I don't even know how many people are in Uganda, but God damn it, if you got at least 30 million people in there, how come you can't go send these people to get an education on the Jewish man's economy. The East Indians obviously got educated on the Jewish man's economy, and they're competing pretty well. So what's stopping you from doing it? The Japanese, they obviously, and other Asians, they got in tune with the Jewish man's economy. What's stopping the African? You got people, you got money at your disposal. A lot of these countries are poor by global standards, but they got enough money to actually send their people to get educated and then come back and compete in the economy. But they've refused to do it out of fear and out of respect for the white man. You've got everybody else, they're trying to fight the white man. But Africans say, hey, man, he's in control, just like black people in other places. Well, he's in control. I'll let him worry about the important stuff, and I'll worry about the stupid stuff like smoking weed and, yeah, I'll say it, watching the Super Bowl and getting rims and all, and being a rapper and entertainer. That's what people think. They're not ready to be warriors. Like you said, they're ready to be warriors when it comes to going to that hood, taking that ride, and going to get little Johnny, Easy D, because he said something about you or he messed with your girl. You'll risk your life for that. You risk your life to sell drugs on the block to make $1,000 a week when you can get a job making $1,000 a week plus benefits. Black people are stupid. It's sad to say, but these are the facts. Where black people are a long, long way from ancient Egypt in intelligence, long way from even the Moors in intelligence. You've been broken down. You like having other people lead you. They don't want to lead you, they want to kill you, but you can't figure it out until it's too late. Even when we had the discussions about the shot, you had black people saying, why would they come up with a shot to try to kill you? But this discussion we're having is a prime example of why they would. But people still can't understand it. And unfortunately, black people or Africans in particular, there might be some people who might be meant to be destroyed. Because the way it's looking, East Indians are taking East Africa. Chinese.
I don't want to cut nobody off. God damn, dude. They meant to be destroyed. Who run the economy over here in the black neighborhood? God damn, you don't call folks stupid. Now they are meant to be destroyed. So are you Aboriginal? Are y'all meant to be destroyed? Like, God damn.
Well, it's not about ideology, man. It's about phenotype.
So I just ask a question. So are y'all Aborigines? Is that what y'all call yourself, a Muskogee or whatever the hell you are? So are y'all meant to be destroyed because somebody absolutely run y'all economy as well? So are y'all too stupid to run y'all own? And are y'all meant to be destroyed?
But see, sir, when you say our own, you act as if you are not our.
No, I'm not the same as you. No, I'm not. Because I'm for black people. I'm not the same as you. So
hey, Bukari,
no. Because he was just it just went on the disrespect. Then talking about they are meant to, black people, Africans in particular, they are just meant to be destroyed. Like, what kind of shit is that? That ain't what we were talking about on here.
But did you hear me say that exactly? Or did you just leave some words?
Wait, hold on. Hey, hold on. Time out. Shanique fell off. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was like, she was saying the show is not about the end, but it is about the end. That's why I was like, I'm gonna let y'all say what you want to say real quick. But I was trying to tell you, Bukari, like, calm down. That's like kind of because he said something important and it's kind of like serious as a serious show. So I wanted to ask him something serious based off what he said too. But I'm gonna let you finish what you're saying. Go ahead, though, Bukari.
But there's nothing serious when you hear another black person talking about how other black people, it is meant for them to be destroyed. Black people, but Africans in particular, they're meant to be destroyed. And they're stupid because someone is running their economy. His whole rhetoric has just been about how stupid another group of black people is. So who's running your economy?
Well, first of all, I didn't say that the Africans were meant to be destroyed. I said it seems like they were meant to be destroyed.
No, they just sleep like a lot of our people over here sleep. You know, the European rock them to sleep. all this, the way the life is now. It's so easy in saying we must come together and giving them Jesus Christ and giving them religion. All of that rocks them to sleep. They got all kinds of religions over there and on the continent. They got Muslims, they got you name it, So a lot of them are rocked to sleep and all that. And that's not that they're dumb, they're just dumbed down. They're not in the right mind. That's why mentally ill people have destroyed our people, causing mental illness. So there's not one person on this planet that can say they escaped mental illness. It's not true. We all have mental illness.
Hey, Bukhari, come back on. I'm about to end, Bukhari. Hey, come back on, bro.
I was just going to say, in the African's case, it's not necessarily mental illness. It's that other feeling. It's called fear. Once you get that out of your heart, then you can get busy, because fear, that's how the Roman armies kept control, through fear.
That's all mental illness. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't call it mental illness. I call it a condition.
Yeah, but they all cause mental illness. Everything that we've been through, it's called traumatization, PTSD, whatever. They've had so much colonization. They've been dumbed down. You got to realize their education is still European education. It's a lot of things that we over here, we might think it's easy, but it's not.
Well, I mean, if you okay, sorry.
No. All right. So let me ask you this, hardcore, because I got to close out, because I don't want this one to be crazy long either. You know what I'm saying? You said a couple important things, right? And I get some of the stuff you're saying, and I'll answer it if you want. But I got to ask you this, because you was like, that's just my critique of Pan-Africanism. And you also said that, you included one of the things as like watching football. So you would be like, is like saying that's the same thing. You know what I mean? But you said that you critique Pan-Africanism for certain reasons. But my thing is, right, like, if you feel like that is not something, do you think that like it's wasted energy to tear something down instead of like making it the way that you think it should be made? You know what I'm saying? I'm asking you this because the topic we've been talking about for the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think it's all right to critique the ineffective parts and the parts that never will come to fruition, because all those things are really just pipe dreams. As you can see, even in a country like South Africa, people can't come together to accomplish one mission.
Alcon, let me say one thing real quick, because you got to realize, I helped out a South African friend of mine. They don't even have the books. They're not allowed to get the books that we have here. I have to literally get the books and send it to him so he can teach his people. This is how cut off they are. They can't just get books like we have. They don't have information about their own history. They've been cut off. So a lot of majority of it's knowledge, self-knowledge that they lack in.
Go ahead,
It costs a lot to send books to South Africa.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob. Oh yeah, we about to end, Rob. But go ahead, Shanique, and then I'm gonna let Hardcore say what he wanted to say, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay. Yeah. No, I was taken aback by Aquan. Some of it I can see what you're saying, and I can agree that there needs to be action done. I'm not on the idea that they're all going to be destroyed. A lot of people will be destroyed, trust and believe. But I have a different take on what stops people. I think that fear, I believe, is a spirit. And I think that's what some people have, both there and here. But my question to you, when you say you're against Pan-Africanisms, like where do you think that people who are Black should go then, or be? Just curious, not to start a whole new topic, but just curious about that.
Well, I'm not against it if people can get it together, but obviously it's a pipe dream, and because it'll never be. You can't even get that in one African country, let alone several. And you can't even get them to go against their enemy and foreign invaders. They just look at people as just people coming in, doing whatever they're doing and living like they are. as opposed to people coming in, taking resources and planning to take over their damn country. I guess they forget that they were colonized and that they're still colonized in South Africa and Northern Africa. If you want to be deeper, even in parts of East Africa, you know.
But okay, but you do realize that there's not just about people. There are actual governments, countries assisting all of the just the unsettled stability, the instability that goes on in this continent. This is a continent that is constantly under attack. We're attacked here in this country all of the time. And that country, as that continent, is under attack as well. So if you can't see this instability in that, like how could they overcome that? We all have to unite, and we can't even get that idea.
Well, let me give you a prime example, and this is a good example, since you say Africa is constantly under attack. Vietnam was truly constantly under attack with war throughout the entire 20th century, country after country attacking them. But yet, if you look at Vietnam now, even their capital looks nicer than almost any capital in Africa. Their technology is better. They have a more stable country, and their people are intelligent.
Oh my. Okay.
But hold up. The point is, if a country like Vietnam, who was constantly attacked by different peoples, can get it together while being not fully accepted in the world, then what's stopping any African country from getting it together?
I think you need to start the revolution, Aquan. I think you need to start it, and then we'll all just follow, and then we can save Africa.
Well, then
okay.
that's not going to happen, because I'm not starting the revolution, because I'm not a Pan-Africanist. It's up to them.
You need to start something, because you have all the answers. I'm thoroughly confused by what you're saying. I know you know that they have had help. I know you know that. I'm trying to keep myself with some composure, because I really feel like you have to know that Vietnamese people have had a lot of assistance. I can't quote you all of the things and all of the entities that have assisted them to come back from what this country had done. But I know you know that. So when we look at all the things that go on the continent of Africa, you see there's an assault. There's an assault going on.
All right.
But there was an actual assault and successive assaults in Vietnam.
But you guys, okay, let me give
you. Go ahead, Library, and then we go close it up.
It was the Black Vietnamese people that they were attacking to take over. And of course, you see the white Vietnamese, of course, they didn't help them. Of course, they get support. You got to realize it's always the Black natives of every land.
Thank you, sister. Thank you.
You have the white people that take over.
Okay, but what do we do from there? Because when we start bringing in the race issue like that, you're trying to say, oh, well, it's meant to be. It's meant to be.
You don't understand what's behind it all. Why are they? Do you ever wonder why white people are going into land and taking over the native people's land? Do you ever wonder that? It's not just in America. It's not just in Africa. It's every place is Africa.
But do you ever wonder why Africans are the only ones who don't fight back?
Had Black people in it. Our ancestors, some of our ancestors were in Europe, was considered Africa at one time. They separated and broke that off and called Italy now.
All I know is nobody's invading China or Japan these days, or Vietnam again. I know that.
China used to be, you got to realize what they call those people, the Hans, the white Hans.
Well, I mean, we got to stop using the word white loosely like that.
All right. So let me stop right. Hold. All right.
People with no color.
No. This is what I want y'all to understand, right? Y'all gotta stop getting turned up, because Hardcore is saying like certain phrases and certain terminologies to get people. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I like Bukhari don't leave. You know what I'm saying? Because he's saying some important stuff, but y'all get like y'all not listening to what he's saying. That's why I asked you, Hardcore, like. Because you was like, all of these countries. So you're not with like the Black Americans like doing this kind of thing, right?
As far as what, trying to resist?
Oh no, just like just working with each other, like just that's it. Because that's all we're talking about here. That's all we've been talking about.
Yeah, that's what we should. But you know, my stance is always, we need to get together and stop worried about other people. That's why we can't get together, because we're so worried about other people.
Right now, that's perfect that you said that. So that's why I asked you, like, instead of going out to be like, yo, this and this, going out to make your everything you do to disprove something and no energy into doing something like, yo, I know that Pan-Africanism is screwed up. So like, I'm not on that no more. So I'm putting my energy into building this for my group of people. You know what I'm saying? What you say is a group of Black people. That's why I was saying, like, why don't you like, it's like put energy, because you like it's not done right. And like, let's be real, a lot of people y'all would call like agents, like anybody I name, y'all would be like, oh yeah, you could probably be an agent. Like I would probably be an agent in like 20 years from now. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like, why don't you be like it could be not something major, or like, you know, just something simple and be like, yo, this is for Black, you know, people that identify as what I identify as. You know what I'm saying? Why? You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't you think
this might shock you,
mm-hmm.
but I don't care about the specific identity. That's not that important to me. I'm more concerned about.
I don't know about that though, because all you do is like try to disprove it and talk about it all the time.
Well,
you know,
but again, it's the ideology and the fact that it is ineffective and it's not really happening.
I understand that. So that's what I'm saying. Why don't you like focus a little, like, even if you talk about that, why don't you have like 10% of your energy on something that you think would be effective? Or you're saying you just don't care about the effective parts, you just want to talk about the or no, let me word it better so it did not seem like I'm trying to, you know, I want to be professional, I guess, you know. Like
I get what you're saying, but actually I do focus at least 20% on what is effective, but it's just hard to get through people, especially when you deal with Black America. You got people who are Nation of Islam, Hebrew, Christian, Muslim, so-called Moor, and then you got other people talking about intergalactic confederations and stuff like that. Man, it's really hard to focus. That's why I just
your show that you focus on your show and people talk about Israel in Mississippi, bro. Like, what are you talking about? So I don't like. That's what I'm saying. You just say stuff and you only have a certain thing. And I know you're on, but you're a prime. And that's why I be trying to show y'all, because he just came off here about after being commoditized. You know what I'm saying? And now like your goal is to cause this. And I see because I understand like the trolling tactics and all of that stuff. That's why you use certain inflammatory words, you know what I'm saying? But that's why I'm trying to ask you, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I don't have any trolling tactics. It's just that I know some phrases I'm going to say are going to excite certain people, and then they can't control themselves, and then they gotta react. I already know that, but I gotta say it anyway to kind of train people to not react.
But I intentionally not. Do you notice I've never like criticized Native American stuff? Like I intentionally not say that stuff with you. Do you notice that?
Yeah, and that's a good thing, because I prefer to have just straight conversations on whatever the topic is.
But you're not doing that right now, though. If you prefer that, that's what I'm trying to say. Because I understand the tactics. That's my point. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, what did I do wrong to get off topic?
Well, no, I'm not saying you're off topic. I'm saying you are the topic. You know what I'm saying? Like they say that you're off topic. I don't agree with them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, I was sticking with the topic of why Africans don't resist the white man.
No, that was not the topic though.
Well, I thought it was the topic of that particular video. That's what I thought it was about.
No, that's why I'll let Shanique go, so you can, you know what I'm saying, so we can finish off with that. But yeah, that is a part of it though, because like you keep leaving out, because like that's why I don't be like, yo, the Black natives are scared too. You know what I'm saying? They not even claiming the people that they want to claim. You know what I'm saying? Like they fire ways to disrespect Harriet Tubman. People, you would sit here and talk about Khalid Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? Like because I'm not going to separate myself from either one. That's why I don't get into it. That's why I intentionally not say stuff to you about that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm asking you. You know what I'm saying? Like
I never disrespected here Khalid Muhammad though.
Well, I asked you if I ain't gonna say it, but I ain't gonna front like saying like, well, yeah, he could be an Asian. It's kind of disrespectful if you.
No, well, I was saying that because he's a declared Freemason. That's why.
All right. Well, yes, but that's that's my point though. That's why I'm like, because the point is like we talking about like how the black businesses fail. You know what I'm saying? We was talking about fear. We was talking about a lot of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? And then also some of the other stuff that the brother said. You know what I'm saying? Like it be examples. That's why I'm like trying to get y'all to not be like emotionally react. You know what I'm saying? And listen to like what the person is saying. You know what I mean? But
That's why knowledge is power to me. You know that they stole that too, masonry from us. And it means something totally different than what they utilize it for. So, like I said, knowledge is power. And that's what's going to get us, and it's hard because some people think that this knowledge is secret, but it's not secret. It's a secret for the white man from our people to strengthen our people and build our people. That's why it's a secret, because he wants to prevent our people from strengthening and being as strong as we can to build back. And once we have the knowledge, true knowledge of everything, then it's over for them. But a lot of our people can't conceive it.
How about this idea? Black people were the first people for 100,000 years. Maybe as the sequence of events have played out, maybe it's just time for somebody else to run the show.
It's too late for that. It's over. What do you mean somebody else run the show? They've been running the show the last.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
And running the show, let me tell you something. Running the show is destroying everything and trying to take our people with them. So that's not the answer.
What is the answer?
Us not allowing ourselves to be destroyed.
Well, how do you prevent that? Let's say somebody comes to your block, drags you out the house, and beats the hell out of you. How do you prevent that?
That's not going to happen.
Okay, well, you say it's not going to happen. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
It depends on what level you're on. What level are you? Are you on their level that you're going to allow, that you're going to, in your mind, allow that energy to exist? I don't allow it to exist. I said one time, when they were back in 2013, 2014, when they were shooting up our brothers right in front of our faces, I said, I dare them come to my house, because they were shooting, going in people's houses and just shooting. I don't think we recognized that or realized that that's what they were doing. But if we look back at the news, we see that's what they very well were doing. And I said that if they ever come to my house, what's going to happen is when they shoot their guns into my house, it's going to backfire. That's how much power I have.
Well, see, that's the problem right there when we start thinking, Marvel comic type results instead of dealing with reality.
That's not Marvel talk. That's only for you. If you're thinking on that mind level, then more power to you, brother.
Well, I know that's what the Africans could be thinking. They could be
that's
thinking
the way
about
you
their
see
pagan.
the world. You see the world on their level, and you're going to continue.
Well, we got to see it on some level that's real.
And I'm trying to get people to see you got to rise above that level. You can't be thinking like this. I walk down the street and millions of people getting killed every day. I don't see it.
All right. Go ahead, Shanae.
I actually I kind of agree with what Lightbearer is saying, in the sense that it's almost, for lack of a better term, a frequency. I think that what we keep trying to cajole Alquan into thinking is that there has to be a positive spin at where's the solution, because that's why we kind of get on here, to get to a solution. And it seems like, I may be wrong. If I am, correct me. It seems as though that's not your aim, that you don't wish to get to a solution, that you just kind of want to interject some hotbed things to cause a little confusion. The point of what we all need to do. Okay, thank you. I wanted, that's just my thought. And so my thought on it is that we have to get to a place where we're willing to do all that is necessary to rise above this, because our current situation is not where we want to be. And that is spiritual, that is physical, that is psychological, that is as all of these things, because it takes a concerted effort by more than one individual to make change. And that's with anything. So I think that's what we need to do. And it doesn't come from singling out a particular group that isn't achieving what we all hope to achieve and thinking that that's going to give us the solution. We have to come to a solution. I think that the solution we have come to is that we all need to use all of our resources, both mental, physical, all of it, and work toward that aim. And the aim is for us to rise above. For me, I call out for all of us. I don't, you know what? I believe in Yah. I believe in Yah. So I say that I want all the people who hear and agree with me to pray to him for that change and for it to manifest in all of the areas that it needs to manifest. And that means in our education system. We have all these children that keep coming up, being geniuses, getting involved in 9-year-olds going to Harvard, all of these things. So clearly we're not stupid. Okay, we have people starting and inventing things that all of a sudden these people disappear. So that's not it. We have the manpower. During the pandemic, there were so many people that started businesses and did things that were Black. So I know that we have the ability. The only thing we lack is the cohesiveness to accept that, yes, we have different ideas, and maybe my idea is not the best in what I believe. Maybe it is, but I can agree to disagree on that aspect and try to move forward on a holistic belief system about getting our comeuppance. That's where I think. And I think with business, I appreciate that Forecast put the information out, because we can take those resources and on a small level, each person do what we do best to make that happen.
This is the easy part. Instead of trying to act like Hannibal or Martin Luther King or Jesus and trying to get everybody on board, whatever it is that you're into, try it that way. Whatever somebody else is into, try it that way. Whatever works best. Hopefully people are smart enough to follow that direction.
Now, see, hardcore loud, that I can agree with 100%. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my point. That's why I don't go after what you believe in or nobody else's ideology or nothing like that. Like what you're saying, and that's my point. Like, say we all got convinced by you right now that we not Africans and we all on board. And then the next question is gonna be like, now what? You know what I'm saying? Like, are we gonna be like, oh, let's go out there and tear down some others, like, and tell them that they're, or are you gonna let's build something for the people that we call Black, even if you be like, oh, we only building it for Black Americans. At least you're doing something for Black people. You know what I'm saying? I'll say do something positive for whatever you're doing. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. You know?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. We got to do it for us. Africa's got all these different countries and more resources than we do, even though they're poor, but they do still have resources. They should be able to work something out.
But the point is, bro, like the point. What the point is, though, is you keep going back to them, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're so focused, like I
only did that because you brought other Black people up. That's why.
But I'm saying, say we all agree with you that we're not them, though. I'm saying, like, let's exclude them. And I'm saying, like, now what? Like, we're not going to be like, well, let's go. Like, are we going to be like, oh, like, look at what Uganda is doing? Or are we going to be like, well, what do we have to do as Black Americans then? You know what I'm saying?
It's not like we're disconnected from everybody. We're connected to all Black people on the planet. We just call ourselves different things. I'm Native American. I can't be like my husband. My husband's African. He's from Ghana. I can't be like him because I was born here. So it's a little bit different. So I don't claim to be what he is. And he tells me I'm not. So unless, I was raised there with him. But I was raised here, and I know I'm Native American. I know my people are from America. But I also understand geography. I also understand what happened to the lands and that we were once connected to the motherland. And that what I am is greater than anything, in any box that anybody can put me in.
All right, we're going to close out. I'm let Hardcore, go ahead and go in and say everything he want to say. And then Libera, and then Shanique, and then we wrap it up.
Yeah, I think I basically said it all. So I'll let somebody else close it out. But thanks, though.
No, yeah. You good. You can come through. You good. And look, I know y'all be don't like it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But like, anybody who want to come on and disagree is welcome to come on. And at least hardcore come on. Everybody else be scared to come on here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not going. Do I be disrespectful to you? I say like. I might say crazy stuff, but am I disrespectful or nothing? Like, do I make you be like, oh, I can't go back on there?
Nah.
I mean, I let you speak on mutual, none of that. You can come on here if you disagree,
I love Alcon Hardcore Cold. I love talking to you last time. I love conversations.
I just want more details about that intergalactic confederation. That's all I want.
Okay, I'm working on that. Hey, Shanique, and thank you. I love Sister Shanique and talking with her. And thank you so much for Cass. It's bedtime. I'm sleepy. So good night, everybody.
I appreciate it a lot, Vera.
Love you all in chat.
All right, so peace out. Oh, well, we got my man up here. Okay.
Juana. Shanique, you ain't about to go, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm on.
All right, well, what up, Juana?
What up, forecast? Hey, shout out to the Native Americans and all the Native Americans, all of the worldwide. Look, Alquan, can I ask you a question, brother?
Okay.
Do you speak like a Native American language?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I get tired of hearing that question because that's, to me, is more of a diversionary question. Just to waste time.
You don't
hey, hold on, man, because is this person in here? I don't know what's up with this person that had been in the chat, but I'm just saying I don't know. I'm gonna put it on.
The person has to be a pretty disgusting individual.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
He's a degenerate.
But they've been here for like yeah, but they've been here for like months. You know what I'm saying? But it's sick.
Waiting for that one moment.
Right, months. That's the only reason.
He's trying to get off.
Sad.
Could have gone on Pornhub with that,
Disappointing, sad.
You gotta be gay too.
Yeah, probably. Most likely.
Alquan, how much money you win on that game, man?
You know what? I should have. I was really close to betting on it. I know I would have won. I don't know. I don't know the details of fine betting, so that's probably why I didn't do it. But damn it, I should have bet.
That's cool. No, I listen when I listen to Alquan express his views. I have no issues with the brother. Alquan, he invited me on his show. He entertained me for a while. I tried to speak to the brothers where we disagree and we can't come to a place where we could have some understanding. I tried to move to a point where we could get along and have understanding. And that's what I do with all my brothers where we disagree, even with my Hebrew brothers and sisters, because I'm an agnostic. I consider myself to be agnostic, but many of my brothers and sisters are extremely spiritual. But where we could, at points where we could agree with, we agree with, and we try to move forward with it. At points where we can't agree, well, that's just for another conversation. And that's how I hold my brothers and sisters. When Libera says she's a Native American, I'm not gonna argue the point, but where we can't agree, we agree.
Yeah. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I can respect that. That's what's up, Buwana.
Yeah. Even with you, forecast. I know y'all be banging on me crazy with this mulatto business, so I know we can't agree with that. Just leave it alone.
Or according to Alquan, the first black quarterback won the Super Bowl today. According to both of y'all.
Well, hell, that's according to the white man. That's what they kept on calling him.
Well, that's what you keep calling. Y'all agreeing. Y'all know y'all get y'all information from. I know y'all.
I know one thing. I know his son won't be a black quarterback. That's for damn sure.
Nah, you see, I can go down another road, but I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? But all right. So Shanique, Buwan, that was all you wanted to say?
Yes, man. And shout out to Shanique and Everett. They very entertaining. Shanique is hilarious. I really. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, when she comes on, man, I'm entertained. But she is a very intelligent sister. Make no mistake about that. But when she comes on, I'm always entertained. by her and Everett's conversation. It's good to see a happy, very seemingly happy black couple, and both of these people listen to the show. So I'm excited that they entertain the platform. And shout out to you, Forecast, for having this platform. Shout out to Alcorn and all the Native Americans in the room. But much respect to him, anyways, man. But good night, guys.
Yeah, and let me say this too, y'all. For all the people that do be trolling like that, I want y'all to know, like, people be scared. Like, you talk about like nuclear, people think about bombs and stuff. You know, like, you probably get in more trouble to talk about how to like make your own energy sources and all of this stuff. Like, not on, but you know, make your own power plants and actual stuff to help people feed each other is worse than any trolling that you could do, because that's when you get in real trouble. And that's why, you know, my channel get blocked more than anything. So little stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it shows me I'm on the right track. So thanks for your Patreon, you know what I'm saying? But yeah.
Well, last thing. Some of the views that the brothers and sisters in the West have on Africa, in particular,
I'm about to be out, so peace out.
All right, peace, y'all.
Sometimes when I hear the views that the brothers and sisters have on Africa, or even black countries, some of them are kind of like misinformed. When I was listening to Lightbearer and talk about South Africa, it's almost as if that they are just dumb and don't read and very ignorant. If you listen to a lot of the YouTube channels, in particular out of South Africa, you would find that many of them are very educated people, highly educated people. In fact, some of their conversations are more intellectual than some of the conversations that I hear, in the Western world. So I think that sometimes that's a misnomer to believe that, they just sitting in South Africa waiting to get European book or better knowledge from somewhere else. I think that that's a misnomer and that's a misunderstanding, and that gap needs to be closed, because I think that she would find that many Africans are highly informed people, very intelligent people. So I think that is unfortunate, but I think that she needs to speak beyond the people who she's speaking to get some better understanding about what actually is going on in Africa. But I'll leave it there.
Yeah, and I appreciate you for coming on here, my brother Buwan. I'll get you another day, my brother.
I know you, brother. I'm out, man. But good night, guys.
Amani Mangu. All right, Shanique, I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I enjoyed talking and hearing everyone's thoughts, and it's funny, I didn't know Aquan had a channel that he did content on, so that's interesting. I'm sure it'll come up at some point. I'm sure it's quite the watch. I do have an opinion about some of the things what Bawana just said. I think that's true. I think there's a lot of misinformation that goes out about the continent of Africa and all of the people there, and we because of that misinformation, we're all just kind of moving from a place of what we heard. And some of us know and some of us have, but I think going there, and my husband always speaks about, we need to go, and he's very big on that, but going there makes a difference, because then you get to see. We have to just take into account that a lot of information we get about ourselves and people who look like us come from people who do not look like us. And we really need to question it. And we really need to find out for ourselves and take those leaps of faith. And I think that when you put out information like you did today, which was really, really so useful, it really helps people to realize, okay, I have the resources now. The only thing, and I even have the clue of what might be hindering me. The only thing now is to actually just do it. So I think you're really such a great use for our people, because if we just take advantage of all of the encouragement, all of the eye-opening information about the historical facts that really go on, not just the few people they put up about us, we get to see who we are and what we have as potential and what we have done. And now we also need to just put it into play. And this was really good. I'm glad I caught this show, because I'm going to play it back. I'm going to take it to heart and use some of the resources that you highlighted. So thank you again, Forecast. I appreciate you, brother.
No, thank you, Shanique. And thank you for coming on. Like, yo, you brought the energy and the fire. You brought the knowledge. I appreciate you every time you come on. Shouts out to you, And yeah, definitely. And shouts out to Bakari and everybody who came on. I'm sorry, y'all. you know, Lightbearer came on here. Bawana came on here for a minute, so shouts out to him. You know, I'm sorry, everybody who came on here. Shouts out to Nama X, K Shaw, my brother Bobby E. Wright. You know, I appreciate you for coming through. Erica for sure. I know Raw got tired and left. Everett was definitely in the chat. Shouts out to my brother. I know he listening. Who else, man? I know, who am I missing? Who else was on the thing that I missed? I don't know. Who else did I mention? It was me.
Oh, I don't know. The last one, of course, was Alquan, the fire starter.
Yeah,
but no,
Alquan.
everybody, I don't know. I saw Rob Vito, Bawana, Bakar. Yeah, you got everybody, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Matron, shouts out to Matron. But yeah, I appreciate all of y'all for being here. You know what I'm saying? And for the last word. And let me say this too before I say that. You know, listen, the most dangerous thing that we could say. Oh yeah, Erica, shouts out to Erica. The most dangerous thing that we can do, and they'll take this information off of because of the resources and the business and the important things that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So that's the more dangerous information. You know what I'm saying? For those who want to whatever. That's why as I hardcore, like, you know what I'm saying, like the positive side of it. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the negative all the time, but you know, when it comes to the positive side, there has to be some. If you're gonna, like, I can't tell a Christian not to be a Christian if I don't give something. And that was my purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like I was saying before, if you don't feed somebody, then you know it's hard to tell them to quit their job if you're not going, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know?
Some solution. There has to be a solution. I think that's what's needed. We can discuss the problems. We can get to, by discussing the problems, we think that we can then find brainstorm different solutions. And sometimes we get caught up, I guess, and it's just, oh, this is the problem. But there is a solution. We just got to keep knocking our head at it to get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, just keep going, you know what I'm saying, and keep having the conversations and, you know, do all the things that we have to do. So, you know, I appreciate y'all. And tomorrow at 6:30, I'm gonna have a sister come on here who and that's why I talked about business, you know what I'm saying? A sister coming on here tomorrow at 6:30. I know it's earlier than I usually come on here. And you know, she got her own business and I want her to come on here and talk about, you know, all of the things that she's doing and is growing and you know, just different aspects. We need to see people doing it, you know what I'm saying, and not just talking about it. So, and also about nonprofits too. We want to learn about more about that. How can we use it? All of these things to our advantage. So,
definitely. Well, I'm there. Most High willing, I'm there.
Yeah. So I appreciate it. I appreciate you, Shanique. And I'm gonna let this be the last words. I'm gonna let this elder sister, this ancestor sister now have the last words.
Just what it was. We lost everything. Lost everything.
You own the land.
Yeah, we own our land. All of them.
And no one ever paid you any money for this land.
No.
Just lost it.
Took it.
What do you say to children today? Children like this boy, like your great grandson, and people who didn't grow up when you grew up, and people who didn't go through what you went through, people who would say, this couldn't have happened in this country. Come on.
I would tell them like this. I said, don't ever stay in a place that white folks can surround it. Don't never stay in a place that white folks can surround it. Because if anything happens some ways else, they'll run you out from your home, just like they did us.
All right, so that's from the Rosewood Massacre, survivor, I think the last living one. So, man, I appreciate all of y'all and thank y'all, man, again. But as always, man, we have got to start standing for something or we're going to keep falling for anything.